listeners, and welcome back to the MogPod Podcast. I am the #1 potato boss. With us, the MogPod crew. On my right,
Jared.
On my left,
Chris.
and on his left,
Hello, I'm Kevin.
Yeah.
Like one of those singing groups for toddlers now, like the Wiggles or something.
Yeah, we might as well be, right?
It's me, Jared.
Ooh, that's an EX burst. What does that do, kids?
Oh my
A
god.
Final Fantasy trading
Great
card game themed.
We went on a tangent really quickly. That's a new
That's
MogPod
alright.
record.
Yeah,
All right, it's okay.
So this
We're
is
back.
the MogPod Podcast episode. MogPod Podcast Season 2, Episode 3, The Wild Rose Rebellion. This is the fully dedicated bi-weekly Final Fantasy DCG
Bi-weekly.
podcast that just came back on hiatus.
Yeah, we've been away for a while.
Yeah.
yes.
So,
But-
we will be bi-weekly again.
Yes. We're back on schedule now. Everything's going good. So, without further ado, if people don't know us, I'm the Resident Earth player, and Jared,
I'm our fire player.
Chris,
I'm partial to ice.
and Kevin.
I only play Scions now.
Yeah.
Likewise,
sort
I
of
haven't
shifted.
played
Yes,
Monofire
yes.
for a while. I'm strictly a Palamporum
I've actually
player.
moved away from ice.
Our whole structure has come tumbling down.
And I play Mono Earth that doesn't have many Earth cards.
Whereas Mono Earth
Classic.
is never Mono Earth. It's always...
Okay, so let's go on to our first segment, Card of the Week. Oh, the fortnight. Card of the
Week is
fortnight.
fine.
Card of the day.
I think card of the week.
Card of the day.
Card of the cast.
Card
Card
of the cast.
There we go.
Okay.
We found something that finally works.
Jared, do you want to tell us about the new Fire Legendary?
So, a new fire legend. Oh, I like fire. So, it is a new Firion from Opus 2. Opus 2? God damn it. A new Firion from Final Fantasy 2. He is Opus 6 spoiler. So he reads, if you control a job rebel forward, the cost to play Firion to the field is reduced by 2. If your opponent controls 3 or more forwards, Firion gains plus 1000 power and haste. And he has put one backup you control into the break zone. He gains first strike and brave until the end of turn. And he's a base 8k. So that's pretty dang good.
They carry on with the tradition of spoiling the Fire Legends super early.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like this wasn't supposed to be spoiled so early, right? I don't know. It's not something else. But it doesn't matter.
It's just if you control another rebel as well.
Yeah.
So that's
Yes.
pretty easy.
A
And
job
another rebel forward.
Yeah.
Forward, not backup.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
even then, we've only got one
Wait, is it forward?
rebel backup.
Yes, it is, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't think it's good enough to Hashmo.
Oh, wow.
Oh, right. Well, no.
Yeah.
But anyways,
You're
Three.
spending
Yeah.
3.
yes, I know. It's not worth it, I'm saying.
That's pretty cool, actually, because it's like if your opponent is powerful, you're like rebelling against them, you get stronger.
Yes.
Yeah.
The actually one of the cool things. This is actually one of Fire's unique things, right? They got Gladiator and Jet, where they actually count the number of forwards that your opponent has.
And it opposes water.
Yeah, exactly.
Water's mechanic
Yeah.
is caring about how many
you have.
they have.
Yeah, and then they're like, no, we're stronger than you.
Gladiator is the opposition
Yeah,
to that.
yeah.
It's
It is, yeah.
it's
Yeah.
awesome.
And like
Yeah.
Tidus is the opposition to Jet.
Yeah.
So what's
There's
the-
already a lot of symmetry in the game around that.
So does that
kind
mean
of
we can predict the one of the water legends?
Oh, maybe.
Is there like
Firion-
2 villain?
Firion's villain is the Emperor, Chris.
Well, actually, is it Sunday and Cloud of... Well, not Sunday. Cloud of Darkness is from...
No, that's 3.
Oh, that's
Cloud of
That's
Darkness is
that's
3.
not 3.
Okay.
Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if they make a water forward that's like, if you've got 3 or more forwards, when it's entered the field, you can bounce one of their forwards. This could be a thing.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. That's good.
That's a good. Anyways, let's get on to
It'd be
that.
funny if it was just the opposite of this.
Oh yeah.
Well,
It's like what? Bring it back up
all
to the
the-
break zone. You lose first strike and break.
If your opponent controls 3 forwards, they all get minus 1k. And yeah, you can return a...
Oh yeah.
What if it's like if you have like 5 or more forwards, you wipe your opponent's board?
Oh, wait. We already have that card.
Cagnazo. Alright, well...
Okay, so let's talk about the current rebel forwards that we already have in the game. We already have Maria, which is the forward.
I hate
That's
all
a
of
backup,
these
though.
apart from Maria. I just realized.
So we've got...
let me ease into it. I just want to talk about Maria first because Maria is not actually a rebel forward that will activate Firion.
Yeah.
But it's just a 4-drop when backup that gives 1,000 power to all your forwards, regardless of their element.
That has been a bit of a staple in a lot of decks leading up to this point.
Definitely, yeah. Do you guys want to just introduce the other rebels that we have so far?
I think we should make Chris talk about them.
Since he loves them so much, right?
Oh, gosh. Okay, so our first rebel in this particular list is Guy.
A rebel against ice.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
So he's brave and he cannot be affected by ice.
What about some lightning things?
He cannot become dull by opponent summons or release. So he can... he can just be Sid Allstein out, so I'm happy with that. Anyway, we're not here to talk about how he dies. It's just he's a rebel that currently exists in a game.
And then we've got...
Why is Leon here?
Because he's been errated.
Yes.
Oh, is he?
Yes, he's a rebel.
That makes me sad. I was really hoping for a Dark Knight synergy.
No, he's just a rebel now.
No,
filthy
he's a
rebel.
Okay.
It's actually like
it makes me think of this as like a digital TCG.
I think this is just like a small translation thing.
Okay.
I'm not, but like essentially, you don't see him for most of the game. You just see him at the end, but he was with you at the start.
You also don't see him for most of the TCG.
You saw him at the start. Yeah.
Like Opus, like 1 or 2.
I remember people playing him in like mono ice lists. Like circa Opus 2.
Yeah, I remember coming up and I remember you telling me at work, like, someone played Leon. I'm like, what is this?
It was a bit of a surprise.
Anyway, so what does Leon do?
So Leon, he's 3-drop ice. He's a specialty of ice. You have really big, undercosted, terrible forwards. So he costs 3, he's a 9k. And when he enters the field, your opponent may play 1 character card from his or her hand onto the field. That's pretty devastating if they have
anything good.
I mean,
I was like, ooh, Shantoto.
You can build around it, but you just get a 3-drop 9k, which is really big. But you have to build around it. Maybe it might be worth playing actually, because I run the Flans anyway, and my plan is to just make them just go, I'm going to try out Leon. I need more 3-drops in my deck anyway.
Excellent. Okay. Well, do you need any foils? I think I have several.
I have tons of Leons. It's okay.
And our last rebel.
I'm never using this one.
No, actually, this one actually came... it was the Ricard that came up on the list.
So this one, I managed to get a playset of this when starting playing the game. Managed to get rid of them, trade them away. Now I have 2 playsets still.
They came back.
Yeah, so there's a 4-drop 8k. Joseph, brave, and he can dull himself and put himself into the break zone and choose 1 blocking forward, and it cannot be broken this turn.
I remember we were talking about this, and I was like, I was talking about this to Chris, and my memory of this card is better than the card itself.
Yeah, this card. I always say this when I introduce people to this card, that the more you read it, the worse it gets.
Because like in my memory, I didn't play it. My memory was like, you tap him, choose 1 of your forwards, can't be broken this turn. I'm like, that's a playable thing.
If he just said, dull him, choose a thing.
Dull him, put in the break zone, choose a thing, it can't be broken. That's a playable thing. But why does it say blocking? Like, it doesn't need that.
That's probably for some
lore
reason.
No, it is. So what happened in actual Final Fantasy was that he takes him to a cave for, like getting a particular item. And then while they're exiting the cave, they fight, like, one of the henchmen, bad guys, whatever. And then he, like, trying to be all bad and things. And he, like, throws a boulder. The cave collapses and the boulder comes onto them. And he stops the boulder. He was like, go on without me. And they're like, no, we can't leave you. And then they go, and then he dies. And then,
the classic sacrifice.
I see.
He's a martyr, so to say. But like he's like such a gentle soul, like when they're trying to explain to him beforehand.
And now he's
like a true ice character.
Yeah.
So many heroes in ice.
Yeah.
There are.
Like the Emperor and Sephiroth.
Laguna Squall.
Yeah, Laguna Squall, Renoa, Kurosame.
Now every element has heroes and villains.
Yeah,
Genesis. But
actually, I can't think of any wind villains. Who's a villain in wind? I don't doubt that there is one, but I just can't.
Barbarisha?
Barbarisha.
Barbarichas,
Yeah.
Villainish.
It works for villain, right?
But anyway, so
mannequins.
One of the first things when I read this card, believe it or not, guys.
Firion? Or
Oh no, Firion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going back to Firion. I actually don't think other than Guy, because Guy is still being used in decks. Just because if your meta is heavy in ice and lightning,
he's a good
then
hit card.
the guy is a very good hit card, right? And so other than Guy, I don't see the other two being used in particular with fire. Like there might be a fire earth that really hates lightning, ice, and you would use Guy.
lightning.
Lightning as well, because for the dull things.
I think what we could probably anticipate is...
lightning the card, lightning.
Oh,
Yeah.
I feel like we could probably anticipate quite a few new
Oh, definitely.
rebels.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
probably.
Or at least these characters, but with new cards.
That's correct. And we're going to talk about that later. But just for now, one of the things I actually really liked when I was reading this card was I can actually see myself playing the backup Larsa. Right?
Oh no!
So the more I have thought about the backup Larsa, the less I dislike it.
But there are just so many better things to do with the
Yeah,
card.
no, but like the way I'm choosing to look at it is it's basically just a Merle Whip that doesn't EX burst, right? So then then there are cards that care about Larsa. So you trade off the
specifically.
It's not just without an EX burst. It's also without. Like, you have to discard first.
That's true.
Yeah,
and then you draw two.
It's like a poo-poo version. It's what poo-poo is to Moogle.
Yeah.
What Larsa is to Merle Whip.
Yeah.
But like so far, like the only viable thing to do with it is like Feral Chaos. Feral Chaos is not a very good card. And like Delita, and then there's so many other different better Delitas. And then there's Mystic, which is not
There's
really
Lulu. Like
Lulu,
lightning,
yes.
that's
Lulu.
kind of okay.
Yeah, Lulu.
And if you're on Water Lightning, then you also get a discount and a buff on your Drace.
Well, Water Lightning with Lulu is already a thing, isn't it?
People are doing that. I
Yeah,
haven't
they're
seen anyone
playing
playing.
Larsa.
I haven't seen anyone playing Larsa.
I actually, when I was reading Lulu again, it really reminded me of Tella. It's like Lulu is like Tella's like a.
You mean the new
scale,
Tella?
The new Tella. It's like a scaled down version of that Lulu. Because when you have that Lulu on the field, every other Lulu in your deck becomes like killer thing, which is similar to this new Tella.
Oh, well, he's most of the time. He's
Most of
killer
the
thing.
time, yeah. But you can build your deck to make it like.
He's kind of more like his special's kind of more like the Gilgamesh Strongest Swords special.
Yeah. Because I put him in a deck and it had cockroaches in it, and I'm always so scared that I was gonna flip a cockroaches.
My Palamporum list has one drop Porom.
Yeah.
So I'm always hoping that when Teller recalls all of the other adventurers he's traveling with, he forgets that version of Porom.
I like that. I don't want just my opponent to be afraid of cockroaches. I also want to be afraid of
cockroaches.
Put some real risk into your special abilities. That's the way to play.
But cockroaches is a good card, man.
You should play ice cards like you, so then you know.
Yeah.
Coming back to Firion, though.
Let's get back on track.
Fire
Firion, we can
has-
break cards.
Fire has a lot of like good backups that just don't break themselves,
Yes.
which means like if you put too many of them in a deck, they all become unplayable after a certain point.
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
I think this Firion can you can build a backup line around utilizing this Firion.
If there's like a Steiner for Rebels, this would be like the Zidane for Rebels. Bad flex of things.
Yeah.
True.
That's one way to look at him.
Yeah. No, but I really like that Jackman because I know a lot of people play the forward legendary VV, and like I don't doubt them for doing it, but the backup VV is actually still very strong. I still think it's very
All the
strong.
VVs are really good.
Yeah, they are.
There isn't a bad VV.
Yeah. No, that's true. But like, I actually was considering doing a fire wind list to me on my VV to VV again because the VV is such high value, so it's like such good tempo when you do play. But then
So
this
why
thing,
not get rid of that tempo?
exactly no.
Oh wow!
At that point, you're just playing Ifrit.
No, but like
and
wait,
not discarding another Ifrit.
are you talking about like breaking
if
it
you-
with Firion?
Yeah.
Oh no, the thing is that then you don't care about playing 3 because you play 3 for the EX burst, and then if you ever need to, you can just break it whenever.
I guess, yeah.
Now, that's what I mean. I'm not saying you
Well,
just break it for no value.
Well, like that VV.
Yeah.
Generally, when you play it, it's a 3-off already. So yeah.
Oh, not necessarily, but you know.
You can load your backup lines with things like backwards,
And you-
Irvine,
like-
Paravia.
Paravir. Alright, Paravir, yeah, that's another thing.
so-
Paravia is okay with this guy too.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
gets like the haste.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of interesting things.
But-
one big thing about this Firion is the fact that he's called Firion though. Like for a lot of, especially in Monofire, like access to the heroic Firion from Opus 1 is fairly important for a lot of the room.
He's
I feel
a
like-
rebel as well.
Yeah, I feel like Rebel. It'll be its own thing.
Yeah.
I think like they probably won't want that Firion anyway.
Probably, yeah. But I'm more thinking about the viability of this guy outside of that if you're wanting to make the most of the fact that he's a free sack outlet
Oh,
for your
you could.
backups.
Oh, well, you could mill yourself for 10 if you're in
With
ice.
Yule?
Yeah.
Cool, yeah.
And then you
No,
can
wait,
Phoenix something back.
Wait. Does it say opponent's abilities or your
No,
abilities?
No, if it
People
dies.
If it
It
dies,
goes to the
oh,
break
okay,
zone.
okay.
Yeah.
So even with Lulu, you could do that.
Oh,
if you wanted to.
and then just
Yeah.
for good flavor, you need to make sure that Caius is in play so he sees it happen.
Yeah.
Actually, you know, that could
That's
be...
really cruel.
I know.
That's like his whole reason he's evil.
Hey, justifies his being in the game.
And then you play minor, so you get Yule back.
Okay.
Oh no! It's like the entire plot of 13 too.
Yeah, all those minors
Yes,
driving Caius mad.
Dumpty Dumpty Doo. Here we are, Yule. Good as new.
Oh, man.
It's like digging up the crystal, even though she doesn't turn to crystal. Like, a lot of people in 13 do turn to crystal. Yeah. Anyway, what were we talking about?
Rebels.
Rebels,
No,
right?
Sarah turns to crystal, and the backup Sarah turns to crystal.
Does she?
Yeah,
How?
not mechanic wise, but in the in
Lore-wise.
in lore wise,
Yeah.
that version of Sarah.
Oh,
is
right.
the one that turns to
Sorry, I
crystal.
thought you meant there was something in the game, like another card that cared about her that was like referencing her being crystal
No,
or
it's
something.
part from minor.
Alright.
So the another good forward to sack is Goomba.
Backup to sack.
A good forward to sack.
I mean,
A
it's
good
like the
backup
thing.
sack.
It's like filter.
I mean, you can sack Goomba.
Because you don't get to lose the backup.
Here's the thing: if you are in fire and ice,
Mhm.
I mean,
Why not?
maybe,
Yeah.
like maybe it's just one of the best options available.
It's I don't know, like backups. We're at a point in the game now where backups are just so like what you have available.
What do you get by sacrificing your backup again on
You
Firion?
get Brave and First Strike.
Just Brave and First Strike?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mog 13-2 can do that for Sarah or not. Just Della thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
like...
yeah, if you're in ice anyway,
Yeah.
getting past your opponent's blockers isn't hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just weird.
I think a lot of the playability in this card will be dependent on the other rebels and their synergies with him.
That's
I think
true.
it's just probably going to be that the cost reduction will be the scariest thing. If the deck could just be explosive,
Yeah.
it could just like, especially if there's a Steiner, just like, blah, blah, oh, I've got this huge board presence all of a sudden out of nowhere.
The other thing is like haste when your opponent has 3 forwards is maybe not super relevant.
Yeah.
No, are you
like,
sure?
unless
You're
they're
either
dull.
losing because they attacked into you,
Yeah.
or they have 3 blockers to block your Firion. So
So-
yeah, maybe.
Like,
No,
he,
I mean-
he is big enough to like at least trample over some things, and you can threaten the first strike. So like people aren't likely to want to block.
Yeah, you can threaten the first strike, but then you miss the Brave if
Yeah,
you're threatening
that's
the
the
first
thing.
strike.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like in that scenario where they have three attackers, so to say, and you want to keep up your blocker, then you're gonna sack the backup.
So yeah, it's just awkward that like
But honestly,
if-
that's just gravy and stuff. It would be so explosive.
I kind of
Yeah.
wish that the haste and the brave would exchange.
Yeah.
Like you could sacrifice a backup to give him haste or first strike.
Oh, I
haste
know
and
what you
first
mean.
strike.
Like, so when they have more forwards, he's a brave one.
Yeah, I mean, and that's also kind of like flavory too, right? Like he's standing up to the oppressors.
Yeah, no, that's
that makes
true,
sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean,
But I think this is
there are
a
probably
balancing thing.
reasons that he.
Is it-
The
Yeah.
thing is,
balancing thing.
but if you do break your backup and they've got 3, like what decks have 3 or more forwards? Be like Chocobos,
Yeah, like a
Water,
late
any
mono
water deck.
Yeah.
water decks. Water.
I suppose you like if you're in. Are you likely to have? If there's a power buffer for rebels, then he's also kind of attacking as a 10k
yeah.
in that instance.
Like,
I
because
wouldn't think there
he
was
gets
a
brave
balance.
if
Could
they've
be.
got like when you sack a thing. So like if they've got 3 or more forwards, it doesn't mean 3 or more forwards more than you.
That's
Just
true.
if they got 3 or more forwards,
Yeah.
play him and then boof, smack, and then still got a
I mean,
blocker.
especially if it costs 2.
But I particularly don't like how we were talking about how like brave is on the second ability because you do it and then they just remove it. Like you break it back up,
that's-
Leviathan.
That's
And that's like
particularly
That's why I went
awkward.
ooh about the water
Yeah.
thing.
Obviously, there's a big punish there.
But oh well.
He's a nifty card, and I think he like
I think has potential.
opens up access to strategies that Fire traditionally
Yeah, it would just
hasn't
be the explosion of giant dudes. That would be the name of the deck.
had. Explosions and giant dudes.
Explosions of giant dudes.
Oh,
I was sure we're not going.
my.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's fine. Yeah. That's fine.
Moving.
That's fine. Yeah.
Moving
Are you worried
right
about
on.
e-exposting?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm worried about the kids. Anyways, let's
Hold
go.
on, not in front of the kids. Disney, don't sue us.
I thought we started off as a kid-friendly dance group.
We did.
And now we're like...
So Murad, do we
Yes.
have any like old chapters rebels to
Yes,
look at?
yes, we do. So we're gonna have a trip down memory lane, but we weren't there for the chapter cards.
We're gonna pretend we remember chapters.
Good old chapters. I remember back in the day.
Yeah, when chapters was coming out, I was busy playing L5R.
Yeah, I remember not playing these cards.
Yeah, not playing.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
It's fond memories of not playing these cards.
Anyways,
So what do we have first?
for first, I want to talk about Maria because
She's a rebel.
she's a rebel.
Yeah, she's a rebel.
She's a rebel. Yeah. And then the chapter's Maria. There's a forward version of her. She's a 4-drop EX burst, 5,000 power, similar to Hope, I guess. When Maria enters the field, you may search for 1-drop rebel other than Maria. So this is your Steiner of the
Yeah,
of
she
the group.
can't find more of herself.
And forwards you control other than Maria gain 1,000 power.
So it's like a forward version of the Maria we already have.
Yeah.
And the rarity is common.
Ah.
I
Yeah,
think
that
that's
makes
a
sense.
likely card to exist.
No, I think so, but I think it'll be a hero instead of a common.
No, I don't think
Might
so.
be rare.
Honestly,
Rare, maybe.
you can see
Or
it can be
she could
anyway.
be-
Yeah,
I can't make
We're
anything.
not
If it has
getting-
Yoshitaka Amano, it's at least hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not getting starters this time around, right?
Yeah.
No,
so there's
right.
no chance of her being a starter card.
Yeah,
Alright.
no, that's fine.
But yeah, I think she's more than likely
So
to be a...
And then
the
this
big
makes
guy
Firion-
explosion play is Miria Firion.
Yeah, because that's
She's 5k.
yeah,
But he'd be like, what, 10k?
yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
10k.
Yeah.
But she's a 5k.
Yeah,
Yeah, but she's a well, she can
She's a
block.
5K.
You know, she can just.
She
block
can also
for-
get killed by most things.
yeah.
Yeah. But like she's like this, like we said, the Steiner and setter of the little.
I
thing.
think 5-drop 7k is a lot better than 4-drop 5k.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But she's
I
also
would
a power
agree with you.
buff on her as well,
Yeah.
so that's a big thing.
That's
Yeah.
probably going to be the most relevant part of her.
And,
think it's a
and
good reason.
they can do that because the Maria is already a backup that gives power buff to everything, so they don't have to worry about
Yeah.
things going out of hand.
Well, that's why she can't search for Marias, so she can't search for the power buffer.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's what makes the most sense to me anyway.
Maybe for like title series or something.
Yeah, but you know we're not necessarily gonna get. We might not even get a
Oh
Maria
my
forward.
gosh.
Yeah.
We might get a Maria backup.
But the thing is, it doesn't matter that she's 5k, because as long as she's blocking, she can be made, cannot be broken with a rebel.
Paravir.
No, with a
Oh,
rebel.
right, exactly, right. Yeah.
no.
Oh, Yosef.
But
Yeah,
at
no,
that
no,
point,
no,
why don't
no,
you
no.
just block with Joseph?
Because he's a bad cat.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine.
All right. All right.
But
I can't think about. No, don't worry.
yeah, but there was also a backup version of Maria, and it says it's a 3-drop backup. If you control 5 backups or more, forward you control can't be blocked by forwards of cost 4 or more.
It's pretty
So it gives
cool.
a Zidane effect to all your forwards if you have a full backup line,
Yeah, that's
which makes backup destruction primo.
yeah.
There's also the thing you have to remember. We've had multiple versions of the same character as well.
Definitely, yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's every possibility that if they were to reprint either of these cards, we could get them both. So.
But I also think that it's highly likely it won't be either of them because the Firion was not even close to what was in the chapter series.
Unless they're also going to reprint the Firion.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
They
by all
could have
means.
multiple.
Yeah,
things.
So,
yeah, by all
like-
means, yeah.
How many lightnings are there? And
Not enough.
Wow.
well,
All right.
so yeah, this card seems okay. Wind is
really good
is
at closing.
This is a card that goes straight into the Morgan decks. We,
Yeah, I
we
mean,
always talk about.
It costs a lot though for Morgan's deck.
Yeah.
The
but
payoff is pretty good.
Yeah, I would say so.
His forwards probably can't be blocked by things that cost 3 or more. Why does he need this?
Yeah, fair enough. Well, it would allow him to play a slightly more forgiving number of forwards, or maybe for Chocobos. I'm not sure how many
Maybe.
backups does Chocobos normally get up to.
No, they go full backups.
Yeah, so they build the whole backup line and then just start slamming down Chocobos, right? And Chocobo Knights.
Yeah, and a lot of good forwards and good blockers cost 4 or more. So
I actually think
Firion.
yeah, when you compare the meta from like back in Opus 3, like now we're in Opus 5, there's a lot of high value 4-drop forwards that are being played.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, and they all
Definitely
come
the case.
Seems pretty good. And Win can activate this like turn 2 or 3. So
yeah, if they want to. Yeah.
if they
I'm
really
just
want to.
imagining this with Illua.
Oh yeah, that's even worse.
Yeah.
Well, shall we take a look at the next card?
Yeah.
What do
Yeah,
we have
sure.
next? We've got- I suppose this would be Leon, wouldn't it?
Yes, yeah,
Not
Leon.
as opposed to Leon Hart.
Yeah, this is Leon. So does someone want to tell us what this
I
is?
can do it. When Leon enters the field, you may search for one item of cost 1 or less and add it to your hand. While Leon is equipping an item, he gains... when he deals damage to an opponent, they discard 1 card. While your opponent has 2 or less cards in their hand, he gains 2,000 power. So items aren't something
I like
we have
this
in the game.
No, we don't.
Yeah,
No, we don't. But let's just remove all the item text.
Oh.
Let's just block it out, and let's
Okay.
just say that when he deals damage, discard.
So he's like a
it's-
he's like a lock or a Genesis,
Yeah.
but with no other effect.
Yeah, and
with
he's-
like a condition, or in this version at least.
Yeah. So, but like,
That's-
what is he EX bursting at this point?
He's finding an item.
Yeah, but I'm
Oh,
saying,
well,
yeah.
presumably
well,
we take
obviously,
that away,
yeah.
that whole line away, and then
There is-
just write him. Just
Is
put him down
ice
as-
just the element of find the new random stuff that gets added to the game?
yeah.
Like, they have Umaro to find the monsters, and then they have this now to find items.
That's if they put items.
Well,
in.
at least like there's 0 chance of this getting printed like in Opus 6.
Or there's
Is
a
that-
chance of
I
it being
thought pretty
printed
much.
as it is.
Yeah, as
they
it
could
is.
just
I thought-
remove
I
all
thought
of the
Firion's-
text that refers to items.
I thought Firion's whole thing was he has loads of different weapons.
That's true,
That
but the
is true.
Firion that we've seen, which is the legend Firion,
Yeah.
so it'll be the one that is front and center. It doesn't care about weapons at all, or items.
No, yeah, I don't think there's been any announcement
And
at all.
I feel like
to
we
have
would have
items.
also heard by now.
Yeah. But there was no announcement so far.
Yeah.
But
Dragon got
just
spoiled really quickly.
which one?
Dragon?
Yes, that's
Yeah,
right.
like we heard about monsters well in
Yeah,
advance.
that's
Yeah.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, imagine, because don't you love party attacking with Locke and Genesis? Maybe
I
party
do.
attacking with Locke, Genesis, and Leon.
Oh my.
That's devastating. They have to block that, otherwise they're gonna lose the game.
Because I think
That's just as simple as that.
if this card was just printed as a 3-drop 5k, like ignore the draw card clause,
Yeah.
and we just remove while he's equipping an item. So he reads when he deals damage to an opponent discards a card, and
Yeah.
while your opponent has 2 or fewer cards in hand, he
He gets
gains
to
2,000
that
power. That's pretty
That's playable.
playable.
But compared to Zidane,
Yeah.
right? When Zidane that looks at their hand, chooses a card,
That's
and
true.
discard it.
Yeah.
Like,
But this
This-
is something you can
'Cause
get more
my-
than one effect
well,
out
that's
of.
like you have to hit them twice
Mhm.
while they have 2 or less cards in hand for it to be 7k.
Yeah.
What if their 2 or less cards is 0 cards?
Yeah.
So if they've got 1 or 2
Then you've just got
cards,
something that's
Yeah.
on curve.
he's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah. Specifically
Well,
one
I
or
think
two.
He's as good as
exactly.
a lock that's not
Yeah,
been
yeah.
Yeah.
activated when lock came into play and without a special
So,
ability.
yeah.
And,
I would-
well, presumably he'd also be a rebel as well.
He is. Yeah, Title
So-
Rebel, is he?
Any rebel synergies that end up existing will affect him.
I don't know.
But I think people would run him for the item search in particular.
I thought we were ignoring that.
I know,
I don't think we should
I
talk
know.
about this. It's not really
If-
relevant.
yeah.
to
Yeah,
the
if
whole-
it was, they were adding items, then of course it's a 3-drop searcher that
Yeah.
can be an amazing forward.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So
It just seems
Yeah.
unlikely that
That's
they
just
would
irrelevant for
items.
now.
At
No,
least as mine.
but they might give these kind of text to the new Leon. That's what
maybe.
we're saying.
Yeah. Leon.
Of deal damage, of increased power when they have this
Yeah,
card.
Leon was a discard payoff card, for a while while his spotlight lasted before, the
So
like
now we have
Genesis came
he'd be a
along.
discard enabling
Yeah.
card. It's supposed
Yeah.
to pay off.
Okay, so next card. Kevin, do you want to tell us about it?
Okay, so this is Guy. When Guy enters the field, you may search for one weapon of cost 2 or less and equip it on Guy. When Guy attacks, choose one dull forward opponent controls. If Guy is equipping a weapon, deal it damage equal to Guy's power.
So let's just remove the first line of text again.
I don't think there's a point to talking about them.
Yeah. These
like,
guys don't do
This is
anything.
Ida, so let's just move on.
Yeah.
No, but I feel like Earth might get some more things to deal damage to dump forwards.
Yeah, but
And Guy could be another thing.
Yeah, but the problem
not
with,
really a
with
predictor.
this and with the Leon that we've seen here, they're both caring about a card type that we don't know will be in the game.
Yeah.
Which
Well-
isn't to say that it won't be at some point.
Yeah.
But if if the next set is the set that they're looking to introduce more Category 2 cards, and we haven't already heard about weapons, it just seems unlikely.
We're not going to get weapons, but I just thought it would be something.
Considering we did things like predict Royal Rightness, I don't think this is the right...
Yeah. I think we can...
No.
Assume these things aren't going to come to pass.
The only thing I wanted to bring to light is that maybe the new guy will deal damage to Bell forwards.
I mean,
maybe the new Leonhardt will.
Maybe he just says.
I like how these guys play into their theme of the old ones as well. Like Leon plays into Leon's theme, Guy plays into Guy's theme. So, yeah, that's good.
The next one is actually a Yosef, but he's a backup.
Oh,
he's a 2-cost ice backup.
I haven't seen it yet. Hang on.
But
my prediction is it's going to be better than the current Yosef.
Yes.
Wow, what a bold prediction.
Well, I mean, you're going out on a limb there, Chris. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so he's already a 2-cost ice backup. That's already better than the
Yeah.
You pay 1 ice, you pay 1 colorless. They'll put Yosef into the break zone. Again,
classic
Yosef.
Yeah,
he still dies. Choose 1 forward you control that has been chosen as a target of opponent's effects. It can't break until the end of the turn.
It's kind of sad when a character's like core defining trait is they die.
To save something.
That's all Yosef is known for.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Dying so you might live.
But I feel like they won't even print this because of Doga.
Well, I mean, because Doga exists, that means they might print it. Summoner, the Lightning Summoner in Opus 1 ended up getting a second printing, essentially, as the Earth Summoner from Opus 3, right? Was it 2 or 3?
Yeah, it's a little bit different.
So, well, I mean, it's fundamentally the same text. It just has a different cost.
That's a different card, though, if you're changing the costs of things.
Yeah, no, but like the cost and the effect are different on this Yosef.
It is different from Doga. Yeah, because Doga says can't be broken by abilities that don't deal damage. It just says can't be broken.
Yeah, and it has a different cost.
Yeah,
Doga costs 1 to activate.
This is interesting.
I don't like this card.
Yeah, I
didn't
anticipate that you would.
Yeah, I don't like having to keep up these kinds of effects. Like, they're fine to keep up if you're already keeping CP up, just already. And at least Yosef is easier to keep up than Doga, though, because
you can just
it's just you don't feel bad that you've discarded a card for it. Whereas Doga, you kind of want 2 backups to be left up for it.
Doga can also
that's
target
like -1 cards CP tempo per turn off yourself if you're leaving.
Another point of difference between Doga and Yosef is Doga can target non-forward characters. He can target any kind of character.
That's right, including monsters.
Yeah. So,
but this Yosef can prevent from damage.
That's true. Those are the trade-offs. So there are, I think, enough points of difference between these 2 cards.
Yeah. I mean, it does what Joseph does.
It's also an ice card as opposed to an earth card.
Yeah.
So that's a fairly significant distinction. Yeah. I think we've said pretty much everything we have to say.
Although it does stop your thing dying to Alcid. It kills your backup instead.
Yep.
And the second thing still comes in and does whatever it was going to do.
Yeah.
Which was probably going to try break your thing.
Yeah, but if Alcid
or deal damage to a damaged thing.
Yeah, but it can't break. Your thing can't break. So
yeah, but if Alcid said, come into play, break it back up, discard a card.
That's pretty good.
Like that's pretty good for the Alcid player.
Yep.
Yeah,
it is.
No, that's probably why this isn't going to be that player.
Although there was a stroll down memory lane.
Yeah. Remember playing these cards all the time.
Lanes. Yeah, I remember when items were in this game. Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I'm real. That's kind of disappointing that they're all item synergy cards, excluding Maria and Yosef.
Yeah, we can't really forecast many things from here. Which is going to be exciting in a way. We don't know what's coming.
I can see the Leon existing without any of the item text, but the guy I don't. So yeah.
No, that's good. And the new Firion is art exclusive for the 5ATTC.
I do remember hearing that somewhere.
And so I feel like
all the Final Fantasy 2 will be
quite possibly.
We have 16 or something this
something like 15, 16, something. So
that's gonna be exciting.
There's a significant chance that a lot of it will just be new art.
New art, and that'll be cool.
Yeah. Finally get more new art.
Yeah. So the next segment is actually really cool because at the start of season 2, that's when we started doing the mod, the MogPod original designs. And from the very get-go, we're like, we asked the viewers to send in their own submissions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we really wanted to.
Did we get one? We got one.
Oh yeah, we actually got we got quite a few.
Oh,
it was just.
We just went on hiatus.
Yeah, we just went on hiatus.
I'm not even sure if anyone listens or watches. But this is proof.
No, but yeah, what happened was that they actually sent it after the first episode, and then we've already recorded the second episode before we were able to kind of incorporate the second episode.
Right.
And then our second episode, we went on hiatus. But now we're back. And
finally get to talk about something from 2 months ago.
Yeah, so 2 months ago. But it's still relevant. I still think it's relevant.
Opus community.
Yes.
Opus community.
But yeah.
Eventually we can make a set of these and it will be Opus community.
That would be cool.
I think we can do something like that. It would be really cool. But yeah, so there was quite a few submissions, but I think I just chose the first one that we got, like the actual, literally first email that we got, and we wanted to showcase it by itself this time. And this one is from Final Fantasy Tactics.
It's not actually MogPod original designs if we're not coming up with them, are they?
We're claiming it, I think.
It's ours now.
Just a disclaimer at the bottom of the email. All.
What if we're like one of those things that has a name
consumed.
for the followers, like there's like Brian Kibler has the Dragon Army, and if we incorporate MogPod into that, we can still say it's a MogPod.
This is a MogPod community design as opposed to a MogPod original design. This is a MCD.
MCD, fine. Yeah, let's just do a new MCD.
All right.
Should we call them Moglers?
I don't think so.
Why not
we could just call them Moogles.
No,
that was the obvious step.
That's too obvious.
I think they can be Moogles.
That's too obvious.
People be whatever you want to be.
Yeah, we're not going to judge you. Okay, you do you. All right.
Anyway, so Gafgarion.
Yes, Gafgarion. So Kevin did the art for this, so I'll let him do it.
All right.
You did the art for this?
He composed the image.
He composed it.
I completely drew everything myself.
Oh, you've even got the transparency on the text box.
I tried to do that. So it's a 5-cost 7k EX burst in the vein of Steiner, and he reads: when Gafgarion enters the field, you may search for one card named Ramza and add it to your hand. And he has an S, which is S, lightning, 1 dull. And it reads: choose one backup your opponent controls and one backup you control. Break the first and activate the second. Actually, there should probably be some formatting around the card name Ramza that I forgot, but whatever.
That's fine.
Just like
that's
italics.
fine. That's fine. But searching Ramza is good.
Ramses. Well, we have so many Ramses now, and
they're all
most recent
centerpieces of strategy.
Actually, what I wanted to say is his description of the actual thing.
Let's read out that.
So he sent us an email. Thanks, John, for sending the email. And
yes, John.
So it says, so the EX burst represents the fact that after Ramza ran away, he rejoined the story of working for Gafgarion. Gafgarion has 2 special attacks that he uses the most in the game, Final Fantasy Tactics, which is Shadowblade and Duskblade. Since Orlando from Opus 4 already has Shadowblade, he gave Gafgarion Duskblade. And so in the game, Duskblade, what it does is that when you attack, you attack the opponent's MP and increases his own MP. So that pretty much translated to destroying your opponent's backup and making you get more.
When I read that, I went, "Whoa, that's really cool."
That's really cool.
That's quite neat.
I haven't played Tactics.
Tactics is a good game.
Tactics is a very good game. But yeah, so then you can generate CP. Yeah. So this is actually very flavorful. Like that's why we
very well put together design.
And it's pretty well balanced. Yeah.
But there is one thing that irks me.
What is it
about this?
Is it the fact that
the word fell?
No.
Is it the fact that the shoe is in front of the 7?
That was intentional. That was very intentional.
What are you doing, Kevin?
I did not,
Kevin.
I thought it was cool.
Amateur mistake.
I thought that was cool. It's like the gladiator thing.
That's fine. That's fine. No, so the thing that irks me is that backup removal is so primo in this game, right? Like it's such a high thing. Like even Sephiroth, the creators thought to increase his cost from 7 to 8 from chapter series.
Yeah.
Right. And we've got Hecatonk here. We've even got the new Garland, which is 7 drop. There's only 8k Brave that deals with the backup.
So
and it's just
are there tactics searches in this game? I've forgotten.
There's a night searcher. There's no
Yeah.
tech
Yeah.
searcher.
Which is
Okay,
the most
and that's a
technical
fail now.
stuff.
Is this
Yeah.
searchable as well?
No.
So it's not searchable. This reminds me of
The promo
Edgar.
Sephiroth.
Edgar,
It
yeah.
reminds me of Edgar in terms
Yeah.
of how
Right.
easy it is to use the S,
Mhm.
which is
Mhm.
not very. And Edgar has a searcher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with the promo
So-
Sephiroth, right?
Yeah.
There are two
Yeah.
searches for the promo Sephiroth,
Yes.
Yeah.
and this is kind of the same cost. It's
Mm.
3 CP and S and dollar.
So I think it's fine because you're not going to play this just for backup removal
Mm.
because you get only the value of the card by searching a Ramza.
Mm.
It will go in that kind of deck.
Mm.
Like you
Well,
can't
you-
just put this in as a hate. I want to hate backups.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
Lightning
a
is
bonus.
Ramza,
It's a
yeah.
bonus you get for building a deck you're already building,
Mm.
and then the effect is hard to get. It's really hard to get off a special ability of a card. You can only have 3 in your deck that you can't search.
Yeah.
Mm, mm.
So I think it's completely
It's
fine.
like it's okay, but it's because it's a lightning forward.
Oh, but
like-
that was John's point.
Yes,
Did you
it
read
was.
that out
It was.
in the-
Yeah.
in the
No,
email?
I didn't read it out. So he pretty
Yeah.
much he really doesn't like Minwu.
Well,
Yeah.
his hope is that every element will eventually be able to interact with backups.
Yeah.
Which I empathize with that, as I'm sure you know if you're a regular listener. And yeah, that would be a cool thing
Yeah.
for them to slowly filter into all of the other.
It's good. We have
Elements.
Yagrosh.
Can we can do more than once.
Well,
No, we can do twice actually.
With
Yeah.
minor.
Oh, and in lightning you can do it many times with
Yeah,
Sage.
with
so-
Sage, and if you go Earthing minor, but then Earth is just running.
If you've already got a Ramsey, you can give this guy haste
Yeah.
when it comes into play.
Not
And
bad,
then-
not bad.
That's-
No, but
that's
like
kinda neat.
I actually think that the new legendary rounds will be searched. Like
Yeah.
will be more often searched with this card.
I think Ramza is definitely a card name we're searching for. No matter
Definitely,
what Ramza you're playing,
each
you can go.
of the Ramses.
Except for the Opus 1 ones. I don't think we've seen
I
any
mean,
of those.
people
played.
sometimes still play those, don't they?
I tried to make it work.
if you're doing like the infinite combo shenanigans with the common Ramza,
And
then,
something
yeah.
you worth
Like
searching
I
for.
really
a lot
like
of people
the
still
cost.
operating on a budget might only have Opus 1 cards. So
I really like the cost as well in terms of it's apart from the S, it's odd numbered so that you can discard 1 and pay 1, then activate the 1 straight
Yeah.
away. So it costs like 4 to kill the backup, and it's really conditional as well.
Yeah.
The guys you gotta have. I think it's
I think it's fine. It's really good. That's good.
I think it's
Just
fine in
go
terms
right
of how it's fair.
Yeah.
Like,
It
I don't
seems
think it's
pretty
going to be
fair.
impressive.
This
A
is-
deck
Yeah.
playing Ramza often doesn't really care about the opponent's
Yeah.
backups.
Yeah.
I think you're
Like-
really not.
the Ramza you probably end up wanting to play with this
Mm.
one.
This reminds me of Anua a lot. And
Actually,
it's a card that exists if you need to deal with something, but ultimately it's not really
Yeah.
played. But it's there. There's
Like,
the tools available.
if you are shut down by say Minwu in this lightning deck that you're building,
because you're
then-
playing Alcid.
then here's well yeah.
Here he is, like very conditional way to break him.
But I was just it just occurred to me that the Ramza that kind of benefits the most from this guy, not benefits the most, but that makes the most sense is the one that cares about the number of backups you have.
Yeah,
So
the one that shouts
Yeah.
because it's got a special as well. So
Yeah.
if you search the second Ramsey,
Yeah,
it's
Yeah.
fine.
that's cool.
because we're just saying how it's sort of waned in its relevancy. Something like this would really push him.
What happens when he shouts?
He gets haste
Yeah.
plus 2k and haste and first strike.
Yeah, it's number strike. Yeah.
Plus 2k, haste, and first strike. Wow, so it's like Ash's S.
Yeah.
So Ash stole from Lightning.
Oh wait.
It's weird. Why aren't all the thieves in water?
Wait. But that's excluding the haste, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
haste is what makes it lightning, I guess.
Yeah, but this came out first.
True.
Ash stole this
Wait.
from Lightning.
Wait.
Let's stop this line of thinking.
Wait. No, that's weird because Ash's S is 2 water, right?
Yep.
That's interesting. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
But Ash is a better card.
Yeah, I know. No, but it's something very interesting in terms of how they cost, like the actual
Yeah,
relevance
the whole
of the card.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they've done a lot of that before, like Jekt and Cloud.
Oh my God! Why, Jets? Why?
Because they needed to fill up some legend slots.
I really wanted to work. Anyways, but yeah, I actually think that the activating backup could be kind of useful as well. If you ever.
I mean, there are a lot of relevant backups with good abilities. Even in Lightning, like you get to Lulu again.
You get the red mage again.
Yeah.
Give something else haste. You give this a guy haste.
Yeah.
Well, no, that doesnesn't really work.
Why wouldn't it get?
Because he has to be
has
able
to
to
dull
dull
himself.
to activate it. So you give something else haste.
He does himself, yeah. But I was thinking of something like Saz. I know Saz is not being played, but Saz could be kind of cool.
I thought you meant
wanna
use
play
Red Mage
Saz.
on this
Yeah.
so it could use its S straight away,
Oh,
and then you
right.
activate the Red Mage.
Right.
And
Yeah,
then use something else.
you could do
Yeah,
that.
like an 100 CP turn.
100 CP turn. Yeah, okay.
You get to fire off another like 2k from your ninja or your what is it, Alize or
Alphino.
Alphino.
Mm.
Oh, you can activate Zaz!
No,
Yeah,
that's what
we
I
were
said.
just saying
That's
that,
what I
yeah.
said.
Oh, I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
missed that.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool card. I think it can fit right in.
Yeah,
It's-
thanks a bunch, John, for this submission. It's
Yeah,
really cool.
I really like the ones like this that have that are really steeped in flavor and yet still make sense in the card game.
Mm.
And I think this
Well,
does really well.
That's one of the things that I love about this game, just how you look at the card and if you know the character from the game, it makes sense.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
no flavor text.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's
Like,
all
it
just
communicates
baked
everything.
into the mechanics,
Yeah.
and it's done so very very like
Well.
respectfully, and yeah, it's
Yeah,
Good stuff.
just like how White Tiger the Sea Ninjas. Wait a second.
Wait a second. Let's
Hey,
not
wait
get into that yet.
Hey, no, but he's a big ice forward. Ice needs big ice
Yeah,
forwards,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
that's
come
it's
on.
part of the identity of the element.
I mean,
Yeah.
Definitely.
Over
You stole it
standard-
from Earth.
No, no.
No, they've always
I'm
had
joking.
this.
I'm
I
joking.
take it back.
I'm joking.
I want Earth to take this mechanic back.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Horrible forwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm joking. Tech discussions.
Good
It's
enough.
just
Opus
just-
5 Deck Revelations.
Okay, so
don't think we need a fancy
so
name.
pretty much, we haven't made a podcast since the start of Opus 5, but we're just gonna update you guys what we think about Opus 5 and just what kind of decks we've been trying.
What we're doing, what we've played against,
Yeah.
our experiences with Opus 5, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
So who wants to start?
I think Jez is that.
Okay. Well, I've basically just played one deck since Opus 5 came out.
I too.
I have been trying since Opus 2 to get Palom and Porom to work, and now not only do they work, I haven't lost a game with them at our last two, over the last two events that I've gone to. So
that
you lost
wasn't-
against me.
that wasn't at the events, so it doesn't count.
Yeah, that wasn't. Yeah.
So, the basic premise of the deck is this wonderful, beautiful, and perfect new fire card got printed in Opus 5 called Phoenix, as I'm sure all of the other very happy fire players know. 7 cost, summon, choose an opponent's forward and a card and a 3 cost or lower forward in your break zone. Deal your opponent's forward 8,000 and bring back your card dull. That allows you to interact positively with the lines of text on the Opus 2 Paloms and Poroms that say if they enter the field other than from your hand, do a thing. So the Porom says, choose a forward your opponent controls that costs 5 or less, return it to their hand, very powerful, if you're also dealing 8,000 to something, and the Palom deals 7k to something when it comes in. So you get to have these huge explosive turns where you knock out 2 things and set up what can be a game-finishing combo in the form of the Opus 2 Palom's Comet ability. But you can also bring back...
How many times have you got that off?
I've killed like 3 or 4 people. Like that's been the last point of damage. Because you also... The deck that I've built also gums up the board with like the legendary Vivi, which comes in and generally kills a thing and then is a body to block with.
And it's
the-
synergizes with the day.
Yes, I've got the 9 package in there, or like the usual Water 9 package of Steiner, Zidane, Garnet,
Beatrix.
and Beatrix. And then there's an Artemisian, and Ico is also fairly useful in the deck because you can throw away your Phoenixes before you need them and get them back for like your big haymaker
Reminds me of
play.
Devout.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
there's the feeling of it's like the Yalcid combo when you're playing Devout. You can just throw bits away.
The
and then-
freedom to use it as CP is really, really refreshing. But the 2 cards that have really made the deck sing are the 2 new Paloms and Poroms. The new Porom enters the battlefield and EX bursts. When it enters the battlefield or EX bursts, you get to search the top 3 cards of your deck and put any one of them in your hand, and the rest on the bottom. And also,
you don't have to show your opponent.
You don't have to show your opponent what they are.
Unless you don't draw cards.
Wait, can you?
Well, it's not. It doesn't count as drawing a card.
I know,
So any ice card that might punish me for doing that isn't going to hurt me. And she has an on-field effect, an action ability, which is 1 dull cancel an action ability, which is
Mini Emperor.
there are like a mini one-off emperor. So you like I often find that she has little standoffs with dragon and things like that. It's like a little nobody
Right,
wants to
she
shoot
stands
first.
up with Dragon. Then they just do it again.
Dragon
She's standing
Dragon
up
has
for
to go.
Dragon has to be put into the break.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay. I forgot about that.
Yeah. And
Oh my
then-
god, Dragon would be so OP.
if you could just like respond to it.
Pay 2, kill a 4-drop. Pay 2, kill a 4-drop.
Yeah.
Pay 2, kill.
Gosh, that would
Pretty
be a bit
much
nuts.
it.
And then we've got the new Palom, the Legend Palom, which I have been really impressed with.
So I just want to preface this by saying that you have an uphill battle to convince most of the Final Fantasy
That's okay.
community.
I'm happy being the one person that's right when all of you are wrong. But I'm fairly convinced that the the Opus 5 Palom may be the best new fire forward, or like the best fire forward in Opus 5. But I have also been playing
Really?
it in
There's competition.
Yeah, there's a lot of competition, but like I've also been playing it in the deck that it wants to exist in. So like it's really smooth in that deck because there are enough Poroms for it to check when it comes in. Because when it comes in, if you control a Porom, you draw a card, and it also deals 7k to a forward when it comes in. So a lot of the time when I've played VV in the past, the legendary VV, I've done less than 7k, but I've needed to do 7k, so I've had to like play another card to finish something off. This Palom doesn't have that problem, and in addition to that, it has an action ability as well that says you can dull an active forward you control and pay 2 CP to do 1 extra K, like just whenever you want. Which like that can bump the damage that it does when it comes in from 7 up to 8, which is a relevant damage threshold in a lot of matchups.
And also very good if you've got Brave and First Strike guys.
Yes. My deck doesn't, but a lot of the times I just find myself needing one more, and that's it's a use for the Palom the turn he comes into play as well, because he doesn't have to have survived a round in order to do that. He's also that effect also interacts, or is especially interactive in games against lightning players. Not only because you can use it to save a forward from your Alcid, your opponent's Alcid coming in, but you can also use it to pop the shield on Illuas. And I'm finding like Illua is the only real problem card for me in a lot of the against lightning and mono lightning matchups. What else do we have in my deck?
Actually, I want to talk a little bit more about Palom, right? Is that we already discussed before, but I want to
we didn't discuss it on the podcast.
Yeah. But so essentially,
the contention is it any good when Porom isn't there?
Yeah. Essentially, that's what I'm saying. But
and it's pretty unplayable when Porom's not there.
No, I actually contest that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm saying. In the
saying.
games that I've played with this deck, I have been perfectly happy a lot of the time to just run out this Porom because, like, guaranteed 7k on a body has been like it's so much more relevant. Like, think of it this way. Because it's Brynhilda,
when it's the
right?
same cost as Brynhilda and Zidane.
Well, yeah.
So
here's my let me just indicate to you something. I would have been playing in a lot of like the ping based decks that I've played up until now a 2 CP 4K forward that had just that action ability on it. Like, because just getting 1 extra K was the whole reason that people played the Opus 3 Palom. Right?
That's true.
So, like,
That's correct,
just the flexibility to be able to do that on a relatively cheap forward is innately powerful. So at that point...
But you said on a relatively cheap forward. We're saying if you're playing this without Porom in play.
Well, my point was, if a 2-cost 4K forward existed that just had the action ability, I could see myself playing that in some instances.
Now,
you add the cost of Brynhilda to that, which is what you get when it comes in. You lose the flexibility of being able to do it in your opponent's turn, but like you also get a body
and the EX burst.
But like,
and you get card name Palom in play, which is good.
There are pros and cons to that. But it has been just relevant a lot of the time for me to run it out, and I've won games off of the back of paying 5 for a Porom.
Yeah, no, and that's great. Having like consistent 7K.
That doesn't mean it's good. That means you've got the effect when you want it.
Well,
it doesn't matter how much it costs.
I'm saying it's not, I don't think it's like unfairly costed. I don't think he's too much.
If it's the game winning move, it doesn't really matter how much it costs.
That's correct.
Fair. But the point I'm trying to make is I don't think if you don't draw a card off of the fact that you have Porom there, I don't think it's wasted CP.
Yeah.
I think it's perfectly fair at 5.
Well, if you're winning, then if it's like saying Bahamut's completely fine. The Opus 1 Bahamut, when you could just play the Shiva. If it's the game-winning move, it doesn't matter how much it costs.
But like just
on the turn
over
you do
the course of the game,
I-
it's
I-
always
I-
been like
I
fine
do-
and good to play it at 5.
I
even
do
without
agree.
drawing a card.
I do agree with that sentiment. It's been good. It's just not.
It's
Right?
not. It's not.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
nearly
It's-
as stellar
yeah,
as it is if
obviously.
there's a Porom in play.
Yeah.
That's like.
But it's just good.
The important thought to have would be: would you play this in a deck? Like the thought experiment would be: how likely are you to play this in a deck that cannot play Porom, right? So like a mono fire list or a fire not water X list. And while I might not choose it over most other things, I would at least entertain the
You choose
thought of
Benilda
putting it.
over this if it came down to it.
Yeah, well
without Porom.
but there might be other summons that I want.
Yeah,
more,
You'd still choose
depends.
Benilda over this.
probably.
Like,
but,
if it came down to this or Benilda and you have no access to Porom,
but like the action ability is the point that I'm trying to say is that's a very powerful action ability.
you wouldn't put this in. Like, without Porom, even if you want that action ability and stuff, like, and even if you don't put Benilda in, you put something in instead of Benilda, instead of this. Like, it would go this, Benilda, and then whatever you're putting in. Like,
It's
only because
to
you
be
got
made
Porom.
though, because like Fire really wants just like some really easy way to deal damage, and they're just not giving it to them.
Like,
they have Edgar was the first thing we've seen, but the problem with Edgar is that
You need to run Sabine.
yeah, if you run out of Sabines, he's like really expensive. He's
Yeah.
pretty much list
And
for worse.
like this one, a lot of the time, unlike a lot of the other burn, like burn on forwards especially, generally needs to be backed up by another card, like coming into play or being cast. 7K as a benchmark, especially in the current environment, is enough to take out a lot of cards.
That's true.
So
yeah,
like,
I think it's perfectly fine. Like, it's good it's good in decks that have Porom. But if you don't have Porom, like, then because the reason it's acceptable without Porom, as we said, is you winning the game that turn, and it doesn't matter.
No,
how
that wasn't what I was saying.
I don't necessarily agree with that either.
I'm saying like as just another like removal attached to a body, which is what Fire
That's
wants
true.
to be playing out, right? Like Firion, VV, etc. Like because it's such a large packet of damage,
Yeah, but
you don't need to follow it up with a secondary play, and it gives you a body, and it gives you this booster effect.
Yeah,
So-
but without a Porom in your deck at all, like
Yeah.
without any Poroms, it's a bad card.
I disagree with that fundamentally. Like that's the point I'm making. I'm saying you can play this without Porom.
Yes,
It's
in
not-
a deck that has Porom, that's
No, no, no,
fine.
no, with-
but not in
No,
in a
no,
deck,
without Porom.
Like, if you're just making like a mono fire deck with Palom, this Palom, I think that's a bad decision.
I don't think that this would be the only Pelham you'd be playing. as
Wait,
well.
so it's also going to compete with other Paloms?
Probably. Like if you're wanting because like the
I guess if
My-
you're playing
like
the
my-
one drop Palom, but then you're not playing
yeah
Teller.
you can play the 1-drop Pelham.
But then you're not playing Teller.
I play Teller in my deck and it has a 1-drop Porom in it.
You want to take it out though. You've been saying how you want to take it out.
I'm just afraid that it'll only deal 4K at some point.
Yeah.
The odds are not in favor of that happening, and I'm okay with that. But
Yeah, I think we need to just accept that sometimes in a deck. That's
yeah, like there's risk
Yeah.
involved with any like stronger sword players, unless they're all forwards, aren't always going to hit.
yeah. Sometimes
a
they run
forward.
like 3 Odin EX bursts.
Yeah. Whoops. Anyway, but I think like the only other Porom that this would be competing with in a list like the one I'm thinking of that would be mono fire, I presume.
Mhm.
Maybe fire ice would be the Opus 3 Pelham, which is the only one that I'm not running in the deck that I've got here
But I've tried the opposite.
because
But is that Palom played in Fire?
Not really.
it, like some decks it exists in.
Like,
And
I've really
like
tried to
I'm
make
trying
that
to think
Palom work.
what you're like not playing because you're playing this card.
It's yet another body on very good removal.
Like Xander.
That
yes, I like Sandy.
Like Xander. You're taking Xander out?
No. Xander.
This is in your 5-drop.
No, I think this.
So you're increasing
I-
the cost of your deck?
No,
Like,
I'm less likely to play as many summons because this is a forward that comes with a summon,
but it costs more.
but comes with a forward.
But it costs more. Like if your deck just has things that have amazing value that cost more, your deck's going to be too slow.
That's true. I'm not
Instantly
like,
Because you can,
Yeah.
you can only play 1 or 2 things a turn at that point. And then if someone's played 2 or 3
So,
things
like,
a turn,
I guess the deck
You're
I'm
behind.
imagining is
It's
it's not
apart
like an
from
aggro
Phoenix.
deck. It's like a mid-rangey.
Control.
I'm not convinced that it would be necessarily control, but it's like slow enough and willing enough to like build a backup line and then run out things like Zandy and Palom.
But yeah, so that
I think that was too much time spent on power.
Anyway, yeah.
No,
I think we've gotten sidetracked.
But it's but I think it's a very good
But-
talking point because everyone was saying how
this
bad
card
it
has
is.
been a matter of contention.
Yeah.
So in decks that already run the
That's
1 cost Pelham and the 3 cost Pelham, is that like a package? This probably just replaces the 3. So that's a deck I
but
could
this
see
can't be
it in.
Phoenixed.
No, I can't.
The other Palom being able to be Phoenix is huge.
Yes,
That's
that's like a big 1-2 punch.
Mm.
Anyway, yeah. So those are some cards that are in my deck.
Speaking of Phoenix I think is in my top 2 most impactful cards from Opus 5.
I agree with that. What's the other one?
Illua.
Yes. Yeah, no, I agree. Like,
No, but
Because Phoenix, I think I said this a while ago to you.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, Phoenix is better than Shantoto, the backup.
yeah, every time I've played it,
Like-
I've felt better playing it than I've ever felt playing Shantoto.
Yeah, because the board state has to be a lot less conditional for you to be able to play with Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
Your break zone has to be a bit more conditional, but that's pretty easy to do in this game.
Also results in a field that has shifted in your favor as opposed to a field that is now blank.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I
feel
Phoenix.
like they occupy different spaces. Like by all means,
Like,
we all feel better playing this more than Shantoto. I'm not gonna contend that, but I just feel like they
apart from the fact they're
occupy.
in different colors.
I think they.
No.
I think they.
It's not that. It's not that.
I think they
occupy
do
different-
exist in the same family of effects because if you look at the things that most people bring back with Phoenix, they're things that also come in and impact your opponent's board in some way. Like especially in this deck that I've got here, right? You've got the Paloms and Poroms and the VVs. Like those are the things I generally tend to bring back. Occasionally I'll bring back a Zidane, but number one effects are Palom, Porom, VV.
The reason why I say this was
And
Phoenix
that's
is
2 things gone usually.
Phoenix is like a mid game to late game card,
Mm-hmm.
and Shantoto is like an early game to mid game card. Whereas so with Shantoto, you're taking a few points of damage and then you Shantoto the board and then you make a comeback.
I think I played a Phoenix on turn 2 the other day. And that kind of won me the game.
Because you can do that at the same
Yeah.
time you do Shantoto.
Yeah.
Like, how many forwards do they have if it's early game?
Yeah. Are they going to
Like-
have 3 forwards in the early game?
Like, if
Yeah.
your opponent has 2 forwards on turn 2, and say you went first, so you've activated 1 backup, you get to kill 2 forwards and have a forward.
Yeah, and a forward could be, like, if it's Palom, it would be a 6k, which, if they had more than 2 forwards, the remaining forward is probably going to die to Palom, just in combat.
No, and I do understand that. It's just I play Shantoto for more than just the board wipe. That's all.
What else does she
Yeah,
do?
what else do you do?
It's the
because
it's the RFG.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
that's
like-
still
that's
board
kind
wipe.
of
That's
like-
just, it answers a different problem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm
It's-
saying. It's like it's a different thing. Like if I want to impact the board and grow my own board, obviously this is 100% better.
So I also play the Heroic Una in this deck, right? So in that sense,
yeah.
my Phoenix is still better than your Shantoto.
Got him!
Yeah,
Una
and
does
a fire
have
water.
Una has
yeah.
a drawback though. She costs 5.
She does have 5.
And if your opponent doesn't have forwards, like in our game, she just sits in your hand. You're like,
That's true.
God damn it!
One thing I like on the subject of backups, I've found the new Porom, which is also exquisite, to be like it's a lot of the time I find myself keeping hands that are like there might not be a backup I can play, but there's at least this Porom. So in the top 3 cards, if there's a backup I can play, I'll run that out. Like I've been perfectly happy, and again set up games that have resulted in my victory off of no backup starting hands with Porom. Like expand the starting hand size by 3. It's kind of what she reads in that instance.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And she's like, the earlier you get her down, the more relevant her action ability is as well.
Yeah.
So just some final thoughts about Opus 5 from you.
I love it, but then I've only played 1 deck. So I haven't, like, when it comes down to my Opus 5 experiences from other players as well, like, I know in our our Earth review, we were really excited about Wall being an Earth card that does things.
Alright.
I have experienced I've experienced quite a few games against Wall now, and I'm willing to say that he's not a card that does things. He just sits there and,
Wait, what?
and doesn't do anything.
Whoa.
Well, it has been
no,
worse
no.
than most Vincent's.
No. I think Kevin could talk about this as well. But pretty much his best line of text is deal 3 cards.
So I actually made a
Yeah.
meme
So
about
yeah.
this.
So let's move on to Kevin.
All I've been playing this Opus is Scions, and it's been really fun because 14 one of my favorite games, and now I get to play all the characters.
That's always the best. Like I love making the 7 decks.
When we just before you get too into it, when we have Star Wars when it came out, and Jared and I played it. So I was like, well, we had Stars with everybody, but with Jared, he played the Scions against me when I played the 12 deck.
That's correct.
I think.
Yeah.
And you got the Scion parts out, and ultimately they couldn't overcome the value of the 12 deck. And then when we switched, I didn't get any Scions out apart from like Alpha Node,
Yeah.
and everything else was all the standard units, and I had like 14k pugilists.
Yes.
And they were just like, and in the description of the 12 deck, it said it has trouble dealing with big forwards.
Yes.
And it's entered a big forward, the Shemazai,
Yeah.
and pugilist cost 2. And they were like these huge ass things.
There's no answer to it in the starter.
Like, ignore the Scions, it was just all the player characters from 14.
Damn you, player characters!
Sorry, just
Paying subscribers of Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, so essentially in my deck, obviously this is a Scion package, but Wall has like an ETB essentially most of the times, because if they have a dull forward, it's dealing 3k, then you finish it off with Onion Knight. It's essentially like Alcid Onion Knighting it, except obviously it's more expensive, but you get a better thing in Wall.
So Wall is 3k to a dull thing, right? Yeah.
So if it's active, you'll sit it. If it's dull, you wall it. You know, there's no playing around it.
Yeah,
So-
honestly, that is so oppressive, and the only way to get around it, like when he did it against me, and then I played a second match, I just played big forwards that like don't like dying, like Xander, and then he had trouble against Xander.
Yeah,
But
that's
other-
because I didn't draw Alcids though.
No, but even then, it wouldn't have been that bad. But like when I found that when I played 4-drop or lower cards, or like 8k or lower guys, they just died.
Yeah, I think
They just died all the time.
from playing the Scion deck, like what it's really good at is punishing aggression while not being a slow deck itself. Because if you attack into it, you just die to like any combination of Onion Knights, Walls, Eaters. And I put Dadaluma in the deck as well.
Yeah, that one works really well with Alpha now.
Yeah, Alphino, and then you can put Pelennor in. And
Yeah.
then Urianger. Oh, the Urianger is a card I've been up and down on. I did cut it at one point, and then I ended up putting it back in because of Cactar is just pretty insane.
That's right.
Pretty
Yeah.
insane with
Dadaluma.
Dadaluma.
It gives you
yeah,
some win CP to play.
I would play Ishtala, but I'm not quite there.
I've already made that deck, remember?
Yeah. And also, I did like all the monsters at one point. I tried Buckaboo, Gesper, Bunker Beast, like things like that.
You found Buckaboo better than Gesper.
Yeah. But
Black
I think
Knight.
Cactuar was the
Black Knight, yeah, as well.
yeah, I ended up cutting Black Knight.
Really?
eventually, yeah, because I just felt like more dragons
Wait,
were
can
better.
you in your deck can you use Cactuar's ability?
Yeah,
Yes, by discarding the second
the other
Cactuar.
Cactuar.
So that's the only way to make win
Yeah.
CP.
Yeah, so it's like an S. It gives
Yeah.
the Cactuar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just get it back with Urianger. And honestly, Urianger as a 2CP, 2k haste isn't terrible
So
either.
actually, no, you play Shantoto. You can play the 1-win
Oh, you do
TP.
play Shanto?
No, not anymore.
Not anymore?
I felt exactly the same thing as like I could like when they play 3 forwards into me, I can just kill them with my own forwards instead of using a backup for it. Because I can develop Wall Onion Knight while killing their forwards.
Yeah.
Or I could go like Eater, kill their forward, have a forward still.
No, but one of the coolest things that you did back then was like you were playing 3 Shantotos and you Shantoto the board and then you just play a whole bunch of haste guys.
Yeah.
And you just win.
Because Alizé gives them all
Yeah.
haste.
Yeah. So that was the Alpha Strike before, but I felt like recently I didn't need that. I just killed the board enough, especially since I went more all in on the Daluma plan with Urianger and stuff.
And Cactar. Yeah, it's been interesting. Like our I think we've only played a couple games, Palamporum versus Scion. They've all been really, really close.
Yeah. I remember one time it was the solo Dadaluma carrying me against you.
Yes. Dadaluma is very difficult.
Yeah, no,
it was really funny. In that game, he hit 5 EXs that returned Dadaluma to hand.
Yes.
But every time he returned Dadaluma to hand, I
Like-
capitalized on the 4K attacks.
VV died or Palom died.
Oh, man.
Actually,
So-
VV dying a couple times gave me VVs to bring back. So
That was a
I've forgotten. Have we played with my current ice list?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think we have either.
Yeah.
I feel like you'd win most of the time. I feel like the match would probably be.
the Scions, like it's a pretty strong package of cards.
Yeah.
Like
I think honestly it is it is pretty competitively
and
viable.
like they all came
Yeah.
out in the starter deck, right? Excluding
Thancred.
Thancred.
yeah.
And
which is a hero.
Thancred is like the icing on the cake, really.
Do you play Louis Swat?
Yes, I ended up putting one of them.
Because I remember that being a.
Yeah.
No,
I
I
was
think
up
think,
and down on that as well.
Actually, I'm on
I've been
my-
adjusting this a lot
The-
over the months.
The biggest thing that's come out of the 14 starter deck is knowing how to pronounce all these names.
Yeah, no, but
I know how to speak 14 now.
I heard somebody say Urianger, so
Urianger.
are
is
we
it
doing that
French?
one wrong?
Urianger.
Louis
Yeah, maybe.
is kind of
Louis
Frenchy.
Yeah, it is. Yes. Yeah.
So maybe it's Urianger.
Actually,
That's actually it could be. I don't
I'm-
know. I haven't heard the
so
voices.
unsure.
I haven't heard the voices in English because I
Yeah.
actually play 14 in
Japanese.
Japanese voices, but
But-
that's that's
I-
definitely a possibility.
I actually want to go back to Louisville because that was our spoiler card. But at the same time, when the whole set was released, I didn't think it was that good. But then now Louisville actually makes you ramp up your backup so fast.
Yeah, you see people playing
Yeah.
Louisville in mono lightning decks to get Alpha.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. I think
Because Alpha knows be
there's-
relevant.
it makes the mono lightning decks build up their backups very fast, and that's what they want, and then they just
Yeah,
play
because
them
they want
forward.
ideas and stuff. And
Yeah.
then
Do the Mono Lightning decks play any of the like other forwards or anything,
No.
so you can
No.
get the extra?
Nah, it's just Alpha No and Louisa.
Yeah.
And literally, I've seen 3 Louisa and 3 Alpha No. And just so they can like spam all the backups and then just go ham.
He
with-
doesn't EX burst, does he?
No, he doesn't. Louisville.
Yeah, and I've also seen X-Death come back.
The
Surprisingly.
Grand Cross one.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
if you have
I haven't.
Yeah.
Just an
No. I'm talking about on FF decks and stuff.
okay.
Okay.
I've seen some decks pop up and top
Nifty.
8s. Just pretty cool.
I mean, he's good against Scions for the 7th one. That's
That's true.
He's also good against that monster list.
I think
It removes all the monsters as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he?
Yeah.
Yeah, most
Except
characters.
cap
All
all
characters.
He
characters.
does.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's very
One thing I found about the Scion deck though is that it runs out of Eaters really quickly.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you? So, I guess you don't find them with Minfilia.
No, never Eater.
Yeah.
Eater just comes naturally.
Yeah.
And if you draw an Eater early, you're often screwed.
Yeah.
When it goes late.
I imagine that.
Yeah, because you really want 3 uses out of Eater.
You need to build up your line first, right?
So yeah, that's the thing. I actually really like Ida, and she's a really cool forward,
I
but
like Ida as
she
well.
only fits in that deck.
Yeah, she's pretty unplayable without
there's
at least 3 other Scions.
But in the deck, it does become huge.
No.
It's
Becomes
like
gigantic,
you
yeah.
don't play Sice outside of
Yeah.
cadets.
Yeah. In the deck, it's amazing. Like, don't get me wrong, but I want to play in other decks.
Yeah.
I really like that effect.
I think if we do get more 14 cards in Opus 6, like in Earth and Lightning, I think some of these may be playable, like just without the other side of the Scions. Like
Hang on.
if we get another Lightning Scion forward.
Did you said? I'm just really surprised. You were the one worried about not playing Ida, like in a deck that's not Sign of the Seventh Dawn, but Sign of the Seventh Dawn is a job.
Yes.
And it's you who is worried about not
Have
playing
you forgotten your favorite summon?
Nah, it's characters, right?
Yeah.
It's characters, yeah.
Yeah.
Forwards
Just make
happen
your
to be
forward.
characters.
But typically my decks don't go higher than like 2 or 3 forwards.
But you could make an exception. Wait, but Hashmel wants more than 2 or 3.
If I'm making that deck, yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, so there you go.
There you go. This your
That
deck.
should be a challenge for you.
Who knows? Ida in like a mono wind
Yeah,
deck or something.
yeah, all right.
With Hashmel.
2 weeks from now, we want an
Hashmel
Ida
deck.
Hashmel deck
Sure, yeah.
to pull apart.
With Barts.
You can make it work.
You could
Make
turn.
it- yeah,
Oh yeah,
make
you
a
can
cadets list.
spam out chocobos and things, right?
Yeah, and then
And then-
all of them.
Hashmail them all into Scions of the Seventh Dawn.
I think we're giving Murad ideas.
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
just
we can.
No, actually, no. Wait. No.
and smack. And
No,
he's
we
just
need to. No, we need to capitalize on the Delph damage to Delph forwards. Or we need to make it so
the way you capitalize is you make
Or you make
choose
it
one-shots.
like big enough to one shot something.
Yeah.
Make it like a 20k.
Yeah.
20k. Seems pretty good.
And then party attack it with a chocobo.
You can also play pugilists in this deck. Because
Yes.
then you attack with one of the things, and then it doesn't matter what it is, if it cares about jobs from everything, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's a hash.
Kaboom!
Yeah. Everything's a standard unit. Ida gets turned off this turn, but that's fine. My pugilist is 30k.
The deck only works while you're casting Hashmail.
Yeah.
And then you play
That's
all
a-
the things that get back Hashmail,
Like
like
Rydia.
Rydia. Yeah.
Yeah.
You play Rydia, you play
Ico.
Summoner, you play
Ico,
Ico.
Summoner, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And
Great
it's,
deck. Great
Now,
deck.
so-
water, it's a standard units war. Fly, it's a
No, so-
standard unit Ida deck.
No, so the
Delicious.
reason why I was enamored by Yida is because Wall is a very good card, and I'm not.
Wall
like-
was pretty insane with Ida
Yeah.
because you can give her the plus 2k and then deal 3k
Yeah.
and then she can like kill
Yeah.
like
That's
10
pretty
pretty
much
strong.
That's pretty much it. Because I was like, how can I capitalize on the dull damage on 3k from Wall and Earth, and like Yida's like the only thing. Every other Earth thing is like break a dull
Yeah.
thing.
I suppose that's why you were interested in that guy being
Yes, exactly.
a thing that gets printed.
I want it to be printed.
It could happen.
Yeah. So
It's not likely.
In a deck that
Oh,
can
come on.
capitalize on it.
Why do you say it's not likely? It was like there's no precedent.
I know.
That's
But, I feel like we would have heard about items by now.
no, not items. I don't care about that. I just care about when they attack deal.
Oh, maybe he might
that's
do
what I'm
something
saying.
like that.
Yeah,
Maybe
Like,
we'll get more of
because
those.
Yeah.
like there are a limited number of ripples, so we're gonna see Guy, I guess, as a new card.
Or like when you have forward job rebel other than guy, when he attacks, deal damage. to
What I really
forward.
hope is that it's also like an anti-ice card.
Why? Why?
Just-
because
Just for your, it's like Guy is still a problem, even though he does something else now.
that's really interesting because like it would be like a payoff card, like not payoff, sorry.
But how would it be
It's
like
straight off
anti-
card.
I don't know. I'm not. I don't want to think about how.
but
I'm
if it's-
waiting to be pleasantly surprised.
So if it's a Del forward, unless if it's ice, it can be active and it can just selection.
Or it just like gives the original Guy's text to all your cards.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
like a
you still not Alcid, Sid Alstein. I
That's
just
true.
realized Sid Alstein has the same like sounds, just the other way around. Al Sid, Sid Al. Anyway,
What?
Al Sid and Sid Al.
Yeah,
Sid
okay,
Al,
yeah,
Al
yeah,
Sid,
yeah.
So anyway,
And you know, in the Scion deck, it's Wall Sid.
well,
Yes,
Sid.
Well,
yeah,
Sid.
well said, yeah.
Oh, we should post the meme that I made.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, we will.
What is that?
It's gonna
Al
be-
Cedar?
Alcida, Walcida, yeah, Walcida. And since it, like Ida has haste and Wall has a semi ETB, that's all like he's gotten value the turn you played him, and then he's something you have to kill. Or
Your opponents can interact with him before then, though, right? Like
that's very specifically
Yeah.
like Odin for.
Odin or Bahamut would work.
Did
Yeah,
Ice
well,
get a
things
Sid
like
in
that.
Opus 3?
Ice.
I don't.
It got Sid Alstein.
Oh yeah. No, there was-
Ice has got a Sid in every Opus.
Could you just quickly
I
search
just
Sid?
realized.
I want to see all of them.
There's
Sid
every
of
Opus,
Fangirl.
Ice has got a Sid.
And
Yeah.
the next set is gonna be from Final Fantasy 15.
Ah,
Here's a hoping.
hopefully.
Now we'll get Cindy.
Yeah.
So I'm looking
Oh,
forward to
when do we know when 15
I
cards are
don't
going to
think-
be put in?
Hopefully soon.
Because I wants me to make my Prompto deck.
It's
He's going to be a wind card, you know that.
I hope he's not.
He's gonna
Well, it's
be
not that I hope he's not. I want him to be a fire card.
He likes
but I know that
chocobos.
I'm okay.
He's going to be a wind card.
yeah.
He likes lots of things.
The
He's not
next-
defined
I-
by his love of chocolate.
You know-
He is. That's
Wait a
his whole
minute.
character.
What's up?
his whole character is his I don't want to spoil things.
Then
He likes chocobos, but there are other things that he cares about.
Yes, he's not one dimensional.
If you knit deck a deck and you have Ignis in the deck, did you just take the recipe? Did you just learn the recipe? Is
That's
this a
it.
perfect
No.
player?
What you do is, if you can't just net deck, you have to look at someone playing a deck and then
Oh.
make your own deck.
Oh,
Okay,
oh,
you
I want-
discover a new
You're,
Oh,
deck.
okay.
you're sitting next to somebody eating a bowl of fries.
Oh yeah.
And you go, that's it.
That's it.
I know how to make fries.
Kevin, that's your job for next Meme Monday. Make me one of those and I'll post it, and then we'll reference it.
All right.
I like it.
But yeah, so other than that, what are your thoughts on Opus 5, Kevin?
I really like Opus 5. Although it's actually really funny because Opus 5 has like been a lot of Opus 4 decks just wrecking the Opus 5 decks for me. So it's been hilarious like that. But overall,
Can you give some examples?
so like there's a player at our locals that just plays Wind Water Monsters, and that's been
Jojo.
yeah, which has been wrecking us with that because a lot of powerful abilities came out on Opus 5, and they think that's been baiting everyone to go all in on abilities, which are completely negated by monsters. So I think that's a good like pocket of the meta that can exploit.
Also, I'd like to do a shout out to MogPods. I got asked by one of our local players for a shout out. Here it is for you, MogPod.
That's if he listens to this point.
He does.
Okay, yeah.
I think he's
No,
fine.
if he listens to this point.
All right, then it'll be a test.
Yeah, okay. It'll be
Okay,
test.
Matt,
we'll
if you hear this, say to me when we next meet, I saw the second spaghetti, and then I'll know.
Yep,
Chris, you're
fair
going to
enough.
see him before this goes live.
Yeah,
So if he
When
somehow
next-
manages to do that the next time you see him,
next
he's
time he
from
sees
the
me
future.
fulfilling it.
Time traveler talk.
I obviously meant from the next time.
Maybe
after
he
used it.
experiences time backwards. We should ask him.
Well, we don't have to
What?
ask him. He'll just say what?
Yes,
what did
I
say?
did.
Alright.
Something about spaghetti.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Anyway, so there's your shout out.
Cool.
Now people know about you.
Yeah. So Opus 5.
Yeah, that's been me for Opus 5. Scions all day, every day.
I made a mono ice deck in Opus 5.
Oh, how'd that go?
Oh, it was with Earth and Lightning cards.
Oh yes, that's
Oh
right.
yes, I
Yes,
yeah.
You channeled
so-
your inner Mirage and
Yes.
made a mono ice
It's,
deck.
it's slightly different from Mirage.
But no, so
Yes, it's my own brand of mono.
yes, yeah. But before you put the Illuas, it was quite possibly the slowest deck in Final Fantasy TCG history.
Yeah.
Chris, explain to our wonderful how the deck works.
Wait, in Opus 5, which was like a very fast meta,
Yeah, it's because-
you made the slowest deck
Slowest
ever.
possible deck.
I really like it. It's my favourite deck I've made. It's probably in Opus 5.
Yeah.
I haven't played it in ages though, as I've been trying other things because the monsters wrecked it.
Let's go in on the mono ice control name.
Yeah, it's mono ice because it plays like mono.
Yeah.
You just sit back, you dull things with lightning things, and then you kill them with earth things. So
All
basically,
your Earth cards are your Shivas, right?
the deck started with me being excited about Cecil.
Mm-hmm.
I think, okay, I want to build a deck around Cecil. So I built a deck around lightning.
Okay, yeah. Makes sense, you know. Yeah.
It started with a lot more Earth cards. Unfortunately, it's only got 18 Earth cards now. I want to bump that up, but I'm just realizing I don't like Earth cards. I'm trying my best.
No, I'm happy where you are now.
My
That's
favorite
okay.
Earth card came out in Opus 5, and it's Minor.
Yeah.
This is what made the deck so slow. Is because Minor on its own with other minors inherently recurs itself forever. Because you can play a minor, bring back a minor, then use the effect to bring back a forward. The thing's dead, you play the minor you brought back, you bring back the original minor, etc. So it's like infinite redundancy of any forward that's been put into your breakdown. And so then it's like, well, that could bring back like the Cecils or Lightnings or whatnot. I'm playing a lot of EX bursts as well. And I put in like one aim on. I could only fit one aim on this deck. I've been really impressed with Urianger in the deck as well.
Yeah.
Urianger. I ended up putting a Minfilia. It's got 2 targets. Not multiple copies of 2 targets. Literally 2 targets. One Urianger and one Ishtalar.
Yeah.
And
Good stuff.
it's
That's great.
and I've been really impressed with her. Like she can't use her break herself ability, but she doesn't need to. She's a nice EX burst and finding these important cards. Oranger can bring back Hilgigas or Flanders. I really like Flanders.
It's a
that
very
plays
you
into the
kind of
slowest
card.
Yeah, because I'm
ever.
so slow, I just like want to slow my opponent down so I don't take too much damage. That way I judo flip is with Gabranth, the new Gabranth, and Zodiac. And then with
That's actually a very strong combo.
it is.
Yeah.
Even though it costs a lot of
Yeah.
CP, it's still really strong.
Every time I've
And,
played against
like-
this deck or watched you playing it, I've just been so jealous of it. It's like,
It's like
this is like
there's
the
Camelot as
grindiest
well.
control deck ever.
And,
In the game currently, yeah.
And it plays Lulu, 5-drop Lulu.
Mm-hmm.
So it has a huge array of
Yeah, you play a lot of
backups and a lot of different backups. Most of my backups are immune to Archer. they cost a lot because they do things when they come in like Sage or
Minor
or what's her name, Star Sybil.
Mm-hmm.
You can find it, Shantoto as well. And the deck can also bring back Shantoto a lot if I need to. I mean, I often don't need to.
Because you Lulu it and then Minor can bring it
there's
back.
Lulu, Sage, Minor.
Yeah.
And the deck's just really, really slow and grindy.
Well, it was slow.
But I realised I need to be a bit faster because of monsters. It was monsters, basically. I maybe need to be faster. And it has some sick EX bursts because I'm playing the 7-drop Odin, which I normally don't play, but it's because I'm playing the 5-drop Lightning that can put Odin on top of the deck.
Yep.
It's fine. I'm playing Amodar. I play Amodar.
I play Amodar too.
5 Lightning. And I'm playing one
Amador's
of
a good card.
the L Lightning with haste.
Yeah.
Because she's a really great finisher.
Yeah.
And with the other Lightnings and Minors, it's easy to get her S off. She's really well protected in the deck. Because you can Minor in your opponent's turn as well. So you can thread in the S. So to be faster, I just put in 3 Illuras.
Yeah,
I mean, all the difference. The deck got immediately faster.
Yeah.
And her S is really good.
Especially if you can bring her back like
Having
10 times.
access to her S many times over the course of a game is really,
Have you
really
like
good.
multiple Esther in a turn?
I don't think I needed to. There's been no need to.
But it's probably possible.
It's
Well, I
very
think
possible.
definitely achievable in this deck.
Yeah, but against monsters, because a lot of my value comes from ETB abilities that happen in my turn. That even like Zodiac, I have to wait till all the monsters have been animated. So they've all done damage to me except the last one already. Although Gabranth has been great for taking the final point of damage from Yins and things like that. But Lightning could almost get me there. I could almost win with the Legendary Lightning. So then Illua, the idea was to help me a bit more. I've tried having a monster removal toolbox, being able to search for knights and things, but...
Oh, you can even search Rydia for remove.
Nah, it ended up sending on Infinite Reanger, right?
It was
Bringing back Hilgigus, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't worth... This is what makes the monsters lists really good, is if you tech against them, then you make yourself immediately weaker to everything else, and you just can't do that as a control deck. We need more wide monster removal in order to be able to play a true sit-back control game and be able to answer whatever comes at you.
The new Odin, you could probably get away with playing that in the deck, though, right?
I really don't like that new Odin. Because it can't kill the Emperor. And my deck relies a lot on S's and Minors.
Yeah.
And I can kill the Emperor with Shantoto or Zodiac, or I can't save myself from damage if Emperor's in play, though, when I play Zodiac. Or Alcid if it's active, or if it's Dol Cecil, potentially. So I definitely have answers to the Emperor. But that's it. I just don't play any summons apart from 7-drop Odin, which kills Emperor anyway, and Zodiac.
Right. Okay.
So that's why it's not so much because I was thinking to the context of other decks where I don't like the 3-drop Odin. In this deck, it would be fine, except I'm even playing the Lightning that cares about having Odins.
Yeah, you're almost kind of incentivized to find space for him.
Like I like the monsters. Like Hilgigus is a huge roadblock for them. Of course,
they have to pay.
They have to get rid of it. Even though they get to choose what they sacrifice, it still just sits there and just be really annoying for a while, buys me time. And then Uri Ranger can infinite redundancy on any particular forward you found. Ishtar is really useful to cancel summons. Every turn you can just have Ishtar.
when we played the Ishtar, because she's also immune to
just
damage from summons and abilities. And Palamporum is so reliant on damage to remove things. The only way I otherwise could get rid of it was with a
you have to bounce
bouncing it with a Leviathan or.
But that adds an additional cost to playing your Phoenix that turn because you have to also play Leviathan that turn.
You have to find some other way to get rid of it first.
Yeah. The I know Ice is doing really well at the moment in the meta, but my particular style of Ice has got much worse with Empress 5.
You're a slower variant.
Yeah, it's I usually in our locals of 4 rounds, probably go 3-1 quite a bit with my Ice deck. But that one game has felt like it's been a deck construction issue.
Right.
And also Illua's against me. They're really good. Because she can potentially cancel my way of getting rid of her and the rest of the board with Zalavar.
With the S.
Yeah, and also she's really hard to block. Twilight Odin's also been very good against me.
Twilight Odin, I've actually been pleasantly surprised with Twilight Odin.
Twilight Odin's been really good.
I put in my Mono Lightning and it's always been relevant.
Yeah.
See, I've played against a lot of Twilight Odins, and everyone's been all very happy that they've got this Twilight Odin in play, and they feel like this is the start of things. And then I just go, well, what are you going to get rid of?
Yeah,
or it just gets Phoenixed straight away.
That's like what I like about playing certain decks like Mono Water and Mono Wind, because your forwards aren't worth anything, so you don't care about their removal.
Exactly.
In fact, it's a really nice feeling to have.
I'm happy for the VV to go back to the break zone.
Yeah.
Then he can show up again.
Something my deck is really good at, though, is against other control decks, I feel, because then it's got the plan of sit back and flan.
Yeah.
You build up all the flans, and then it's because of monsters. I feel, this is what I feel at least, because of monsters and because of these really high impact summons now, I feel like the summons that do get played are high impact. So I play Kunmi, because I think Kunmi's really effective, and the Celis S and Edward S. I think it's too slow to try support them both, which is what I'm currently doing. But against the control decks, like...
No, you don't really have to. You can just run like 2 copies of Edward.
I think all the...
like 2 copies of Celis, and like you can just go for
I think
whatever.
I'd rather play Summoner in my deck. The 1-drop Summoner.
Okay.
All the Ice and like Ice X decks I've seen people playing in our meta, at least. I'm not sure if this is representative of the like international meta. Have been playing both of them. So I'm not sure.
So you've seen mine.
Justin
plays,
or at least he was last week.
Okay.
No,
a lot of
But he
people
only
run
runs
both.
2 Celis, right?
Yeah, 2 Celis.
I don't know the numbers of each of the cards.
So it's 2 Celis and 2 to 3 Edward. That's usually what's the case.
Yeah, because against monsters, like the Ice plan is Emperor with Summon Protection. Because then it's really, really hard to get rid of the Emperor, and that's the
correct.
only thing stopping the horde of monsters coming at me. And against Illua, like...
Which is
I'm
ironic.
really sad that I can't ping Illua's shield off to then let Terra's ETB kill affect Illua.
Just the stack doesn't work.
Yeah.
That's really sad.
That's all.
I really wish I could do that.
You know, Illua is like, it came at just the right time where a lot of the decks actually don't do combat anymore. Right? Like, I feel like the meta shifted away from...
combat has definitely not been a very big part. I think that's why water is falling by the wayside a bit.
Because I used to remember out of like back in Opus 3, right? Like combat was the thing, right? Like you win games by be like block, din, or like, do a couple of things and then that's how you win.
Yeah,
like that's a turning point, right?
Yeah.
Now it's just like remove your forwards, I'm just gonna attack for free. Right? And so but then Illua, the best way to get rid of Illua is to have a blocker.
And
right?
9k.
That's actually why I put Cacta in my deck. So to be able to ping
Flandits. Flandits are so good because they just ping off.
I have to either red mage them or use Palom's ability.
Yeah. But Illua is such a huge consideration when you're deck building. So how are you actually going to deal with Illua?
It's another thing you have to consider.
She's one of the she's definitely the boogeyman of the moment.
Yep. Yeah. So I just love my EXing Shivas. Kill her.
So the EX is like
it's not in got that wall protection shield over the top of it.
That's why
one of Wall's options.
The EX burst.
Wall's also actually pretty good against her because you can just ping her with the 3K.
Yeah, you can just ping
Would
the 3K,
that stop like the other effect you're getting though?
Yes, it will.
Yeah, it cancels the whole effect. So that means that turn. That's all.
Because it has been confirmed that it's on that. So what are your final thoughts on Opus 5?
My thoughts on Opus 5. Man, my favorite Opus 5 was 4. So far.
Because when Mono Ice was a thing.
Well, I don't care about what's going on in the overall meta worldwide. But in our environment, I really enjoyed our games of Mono Water, Mono Ice, and that can't happen anymore. I mean, it could if we just agreed to not use Opus 5 cards.
But you could make a...
Wait. How come... What about Mono Water and what about Mono Ice?
So Mono
does
Water...
Opus 5 prevent?
The speed of the new aggressive cards in Opus 5 has impacted.
Both of those decks.
Yeah,
I mean,
So they're both required
the viability of those decks versus other decks.
Yes.
That's just saying. But like, you guys can just make Opus 5 decks.
That's what I just said. If we
together,
agreed,
yeah.
that's what I just said. If we both agreed to not play Opus 5.
No. You can still play Opus 5.
Because Opus 5, like mono water versus Opus 5 mono ice.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
That's
I
still
don't
a
know
thing.
if we could deliberately sit down and come up with two fair and balanced lists just to verse each other with. Like it just kind of happened naturally when we were building our decks.
It just happened that they were both
Opus
very
5.
good in the Opus 4 meta.
Yeah, and we had. I loved our matches so much. Like they came down to so many interesting moments. Like, I used them as examples to get people into the game. Like, I mean, because he has to consider like the dull things and their prime cost. But then he could do this, which you can activate the things. But he knows I got this in my hand. I know he's got that. I know he knows that I've got this. So then we had that big standoff turn where I can't remember the specifics. I decided whether Zala or not. You knew I had Zala just from the read of what's been going in the game. I was like. Because I'd have to get rid of my Sid Ulstein that side to cast the Zalora, which you also knew I had just from the read of the game. And the Sid Ulstein with the Flans there is what was stopping you from playing more than one thing. Like, it's such an awesome game! Anyway, gone are the days.
With a little more tweaking and examination, you might find
So,
maybe they exist.
I'll be completely honest, I haven't... since making the Earth Lightning and modified cadets a bit, I haven't spent a lot of time... With Royal Ripeness! I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about Final Fantasy decks at the moment, as I've just been playing other hobbies and things. But when I'm done with those, which will happen, Final Fantasy is eternal. Like I'll come back to that, and then I'm sure there can be an ice deck that plays in my style. That's also good. Because I think I just made my deck too slow. I wanted to try all these things. I wanted to try Aloide. I wanted to try out Edward.
You even tried out Lugay and...
I tried out Lugay and Barnabas. That was in a different deck, though. That was going like the full discard theme, which it wasn't good because it went too far down that road. But yeah, I think I should just like take out the Edwards, for example, for the 1-drop summoners, because I miss those so much. I might move from Devout to Scholar.
Scholar is really good.
Yeah, it just depends on how. I don't like Orphan in my deck because my cards cost too much already, and then 6 is a lot to play. It doesn't matter if the effect's good. Like it has to be really it has to be like Goldweather level for me to pay 6. I can already do that stuff. Why do I want to pay 6 for it?
It's kind of like you're just getting it all in one.
It also
package.
just doesn't hit monsters, which is one of my biggest concerns.
Ice doesn't have monster hate other than Celis.
Ice is actually like not the worst.
You can interact with them once they become creatures.
Yeah, because you just dull them once they become monsters.
Or like you Shiva them once they attack.
Or alternatively, you guys got a lot of summon hate, and those monster decks really...
It depends, because the monsters deck that might not play summons. I think you should still play summons with monsters.
I agree.
No, you should.
Yeah, there's usually the summons. If you're playing a lot of monsters, the summons you're keeping will be really high impact, and that's
exactly, and that's the ones you're cancelling.
In Opus 5, I just found summons to be they're not like bad example. I was going to say they're not like Ifrit, but Ifrit's a bit played. Like
hey man, Ifrit is good.
But I meant Opus 2 Ifrit, pre Opus 5 Ifrit coming out. Like they're not just these throwaway summons.
Phoenix, Diabolos.
Phoenix, Diabolos.
Valafor and the monster matchup.
Yeah, Valafor.
Just massive summons.
Anything that removes the Emperor in the monster matchup. So, my deck's really good cancelling summons, but that's about it. Yeah. Like Genesis can't hit monsters.
Very sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, thanks for that, Chris. So let's move on to me.
Yes. I love this deck.
Right now, okay, so that's the thing, right? I've got 2 different decks, right? So at the very start of Opus 5, right, I was in the middle of the online Untapped tournament.
Yeah.
Right, and then everyone was hating on Fire, being like, "Oh, Pelham sucks."
I wasn't.
Not you. I'm
That's
talking
because I know the truth.
I'm talking about the online community.
The detractors,
It's okay, Jed.
the infidels,
It's okay, Jed. It's okay.
the apostates, the apostate fire players.
No, but so many like people were like, "Oh no, I opened a Pelham. This box sucks."
I was happy to open a Pelham because I could trade it to Jen.
I got my foil Pelham so easily. It was great.
Anyways, we're not talking about it. So then, like, during that tournament, I played various Shantoto decks, 7 Swift Strikes, and like those kind of my like this. And then when the finals, like the top 8, what happened was Opus 5 got released, and they were like, "Now top 8 is Opus 5,"
Yeah,
and it was
big curve.
yeah, big curve. I was like, "Ah, crap, what do we do?" And then I was just like, you know what? Like, no one's gonna expect this. No one's gonna build against this, right? I'm gonna build the best modifier I can, right? And I actually
You should have consulted me, Mirage.
It was really interesting because I think your deck was really well placed in that specific meta.
It was, yeah.
Looking at the deck list, it just like wrecked everything. In theory, it's just that the game you lost to.
Did it just not come together?
It was at 5 a.m. He was up at 5 a.m. playing.
yeah.
Not
I chose a thing, and then what did I win against? I won against the first match was Mono Water. It was a really easy matchup. I actually tested a lot with Kevin, so thanks for that, Kevin. And then the second match, which I thought was what I have really hard time against, was Fire Ice.
Did you have a hard time against them?
I did, but like I just prioritized and like because he went really aggressive, and I just punished that with my like VVs and efforts and stuff.
One thing I have found playing playing against Fire Ice with the various fire decks that I've built is like people have been treating Fire Ice like it's this big terrifying thing that's dominating that. I haven't had trouble removing their threats or anything.
You haven't played against Joshua, if you remember it. Because I
haven't.
Yeah. No, I actually this is actually another thing. I haven't played against his Fire Ice on Untap, but I've played against his other decks on Untap, and like it's a completely different experience versing against them. I can't explain it. Like I don't even know. Like you're playing against them. You just know that when he does all of his moves, like obviously it's deliberate. I mean, we all kind of do it deliberately, but you just know that you just feel like you're losing.
It could just be a psychological element.
Yeah, no. I have won like 1 or 2 games out of like 20, but the thing is like it's not that. It's just like
Every move just looks so devastating.
Exactly, right? Like it's just that
when you're losing by a lot.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
I think he's saying when his opponent takes an action, he's losing by a lot.
I don't know about you guys, but it's just like it's like another tier, right?
Okay.
Like I've played against like other players like Jamie Faulkner who like won like some regionals in the UK as well, right? But it's not the same, right? And I've played against you guys and stuff. It's just I it's just not the same.
I like to know my opponents think they're winning though.
It's his whole shit.
It's not that. It's not like he has 5 forwards on the field. He just has like a backup, like 2 backups, and now I'm scared. Right? Like, it's not that, right?
That does sound really
This might just be a confidence issue, right? Okay.
So now I know how to win against Mirage. Play 2 backups and look at him.
Turn 1, discard for like 1-drop summoner. Next turn, tap summoner for summoner.
No.
And
the first card that you discard is actually a 2-drop backup.
I've done that before. I've discarded a Jill Nabat.
I have to bring up Jill as well. Yeah, because playing a summon on turn 1 is better than playing Jill Nabat.
Well, okay,
it's perfectly legitimate play.
Anyways,
let's talk about the deck.
All I'm saying is that like I feel like just
this
like
deck loses to 2 backups is what you're saying.
Yes, no. This deck is actually very good.
We're not off to a great start.
I didn't play.
I guess that would take people by surprise.
Yeah.
No one would expect a deck that loses to 2 backups.
I didn't play this deck against Joshua, but then after the Fire Ice deck, it was a different person that played Fire Ice. I think it was Rob. After that, I was playing against the Water Earth deck. I was actually very favored in that matchup. He played all the Cecils and Rosas.
Oh, really?
And Roban, yeah.
I would imagine.
I'm pretty sure he only played 1 Cecil, right?
No, he did.
Wait, did he play multiple copies of Cecil?
Oh, no. He played three of the Opus 2 Legendary.
3 of the Legend one.
Yeah, the Opus 2 Legendary Cecil.
That one is very good, though. Especially against
They should make a
Modified.
light Cecil that's a Dark Knight.
So
that would be great.
What?
That would be great.
But anyway, so I was actually pretty favored in that matchup. For whatever reason, I won the first game, lost the second game, and then the third game, It was very close, but then he won. And
So how does this deck operate?
Yeah.
okay,
Like, give us a rundown.
So the whole core of the deck came from Vermilion Burly Season Tuna, because ever since it was spoiled, I was like,
Yeah,
this
it's a cool
goes
card.
this goes in mono fire, right? And you play the Opus 3 Ifrit, which is a type 0, so you can search for it. You got the new Opus 5 Ifrit, which is so good because like I think I played against the mono waterless had Ash in it, and I just double
Just killed
Ifrit
it.
it, and then it's done. There's just nothing happened.
Done?
Yeah, just done, right? That's
Done.
it.
Easy.
And also, everyone hated it, even Jared. Right?
Yeah.
Don't say they hate
This card.
Opus 4 Ifrit.
I wanted to love it.
I still think it's very good if you're playing any
So,
mono fire.
why did you choose to play this one over the
What's up?
Opus 2 Ifrit? Or why are you not
cost
playing
60?
the Opus 2 Ifrit?
Yeah, this is so much
Wait.
better.
Well, sometimes.
Like you can like
I suppose you have quite a lot of 2-drops, so you can quite feasibly get...
Yeah, you
So,
can.
like, whenever I thought about this card, I thought about it within the context of having lots of backups. But I suppose you more often would have had your 5... It needs 5, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
5 fire characters, mostly comprised of forwards, right?
A lot of the time, I just use it for the 4K, and I'm happy. Honestly,
At that point, you could be playing the Opus 1 Ifrit.
I know, but in this type of deck, right? I play two different kind of strategies. Sometimes when you go all in, you have like one backup and like a couple of forwards, and they just can't overcome your extensive removal options and your rangers. Oh my god, that's so the rangers, like I think it's my favorite fire card. Like I just like
Yeah, we were talking about this at the
yeah.
Yeah.
I just
I like this ranger as well.
absolutely love the rangers, and it makes all of your 7K burn 9K. It makes all your 5K burn 7K.
Assuming there's no Minwu.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean like I knew no one's gonna play Minwu because like no one likes like to think about fire. Anyways, so like in the tournament, so I was
That's the
that's
only
actually
reason
true.
to play Minwu.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
huh?
That's actually that's very true. If you're not expecting any fire, there's very little reason to
You
play.
don't-
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
You don't
gotta
worry
be
about it for
afraid of,
Alcid.
Alcid,
Alcid.
No, but
Alcid's
Alcid-
one card.
No, but people play Alcid into Minwu anyway. They got 2
because
forwards.
that's still
Okay.
Yeah.
Watch out for the Dusk Blades.
Oh yeah. But like if I did expect Minwu, then I'll just put like 2 or 3 Sephiroths. Like the deck will run fine with that. Anyways, but this ranger is like my because what I love having is like having like a Tifa, right? And then having like 2 rangers and like just like tackle the ranger. Be like, make you decide what you're gonna do. And if they let it go through, attack with the other ranger, make it go through, and then the god okay, fine, let it go through, and then I attack with the Tifa, and they're like, oh crap, my 8K can't block the Tifa. It's like it's so devastating.
And then
honestly.
you Ifrit it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I 2-drop Ifrit the 4K, the extra 4K, and he dies anyway. But I give him the anguish of choosing whether he wants to lose it or not.
Oh, you like that? Welcome to the realm of ice. I've
No,
got so
honestly,
much to show you. my friend.
these rangers are like one of my favorites. Like in any deck that has run fire, right?
Yeah.
I would actually put ranger in the same consideration as Vivi. They don't exactly do the same thing.
Yep.
But they do complement one another.
But in terms of because you know how the different tiers of cards, like in terms of the tier, I put them in the same tier.
Yeah.
Like this could be controversial,
I
but
remember your biggest regret that you sent us was that we rated Ranger really low.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
man,
that's
we put 1+2, easily 3+2, easily 3+2.
I still think 3+1, but I'm just not on board.
Ranger's
the Ranger
really,
bandwagon.
really good.
I acknowledge that it's really good,
I
but
like Ranger as well.
It
I did a lot of
often-
playstating with Murad with this deck, and just watching it has been so hilarious. Just watching him not care about anything.
Yeah, just like attacking with ranger thing, and it's like hey, so they don't even expect it.
I
Yeah,
suppose also when you've got like this deck doesn't have it, but when you've got like Belias as well, it's effectively attacking as a 7K.
like honestly, right? I feel like Belias is not.
You
impactful
did have
enough.
Belias. You did have Belias in the list you played, I believe.
I did.
I think so. For the tournament.
2 of.
Yeah.
That's
that's
You can
correct.
change it later. Don't worry
Yeah,
about
that's
it.
correct. That's correct. Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, and the other really cool thing about this deck is Warrior. OMG, Warrior with Godot. It's
Yeah,
just.
I was gonna ask how was Godot because like when we were I remember when we were looking at Fire in our set review, he was like one of the cards we thought most powerful.
Godot's one of those cards, but they have to answer, otherwise they.
Otherwise, you get free haste.
Yeah.
Free haste. And this deck has 8 2-drops in it.
And, yeah, the 2-drop thing has been so huge.
But that's the thing, right? I don't even run that too many 2-drops. People are like saying, why don't you run Sync, why don't you run Cloud? And I'm just like, I don't need that many.
8's a pretty large number,
Like,
really.
the thing about the Godot buffing the 2 drops is huge. It's also like not necessary for Godot to be good.
Yeah.
Like I often forget about that because it's the haste is like the main thing I'm worried about.
It's actually funny because like essentially when you play Godot, the 2K is like the ETB, and then you're getting the haste the next turn.
Yeah.
It's like really good.
Yeah.
Unless you like Goblin him or Elias him or Sage him or... What's the 4th one? Wait, no, he's the 4th one. Godot's the 4th one. I'm just thinking of all the haste effects.
And obviously, Vivi is a good card. Sabine is a good card. Zande Ranger Party Attack. I've done that a few
That's
times.
kind of cool.
Done that a few times. Not bad. Lunith has been very underwhelming, but in my playtesting was actually pretty good. But after playing it more and more, because essentially what happened was that I would discard a card for the 2-drop Ifrit, deal 7k, and then I would play Lunith by discarding a card, tapping it back up, and then tapping 2 backups and Lunith to deal the extra 2k.
Yeah.
That's what I used to do, and I'd be like, hey, Lunith is my extra 2k burn for when I don't have range.
He's also your protection against Acid.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that too. And also, like 1k power to everything else. But I found that 1k power, everything else didn't actually.
Well, you already have a better forward that's giving 2k power.
Yeah.
So
And I've already got
relevant.
selfie, and it just didn't like. Lunith was very underwhelming over the
Can
long
you talk
term.
about Zhuyu? I want to know how.
Oh, man.
relevant
Sorry,
he
what?
was.
Talk about what?
Zhuyu.
Who?
Zhuyu.
What?
Sorry, Vermilion Bird the Sea Zhuyu.
Oh, Vermilion Bird, let's see you.
Now I finally know what you're talking about.
Yeah, okay. So with Vermilion Bird, let's see. So with Vermilion Bird, let's see Zhuyu, right?
Yeah.
Zhuyu.
Sorry, who?
With Vermilion Bird, let's see Zhuyu.
Oh, yeah.
And what happens is that
we need a like. Sorry, I don't mean to derail you, but we need like a what's my name? Name, Heisenberg.
Yeah,
Vermilion Bird the Sea
yeah,
Zhuyu.
yeah. Anyways,
Somebody make that. We'll post it on me Monday.
but anyways, so I might actually make that myself. But anyways, with this card, right? It's just a 2 of. I think 3 of would be too clunky.
Yeah,
right. But it's one of those cards where I go kind of. It depends on the matchup. If I see water, I kind of go all in. If I see different, like if I see ice, I go a bit more mid rangey. This deck can go aggro to mid rangey pretty easily, but in those games, I can get to like 5 or 6 damage pretty easily.
Yep.
Right, and then at that time, and then when I can't break through their big line, like say Cecil, like I think when I did playtest against Shu, I won one of the games playtest against Shu against that Water Earth list because I drew Zhuyu and then I attacked into Cecil.
Well,
right, and so at that point, it's like a Vermilion Bird, the Sea, Zhuyu waiting room.
Yeah, after you get them to 6, you just wait,
Yeah.
you draw it, you win.
Yeah, you
It
draw it,
feels-
you win. That's
like,
it.
I've played this card in my cadets list as well,
Yeah.
just because of the flavor and everything, and it just feels so satisfying to win with it as the final. Like,
It's like,
here comes Vermilion Bird,
Bird,
let's
let's
see
see
you.
I do like that both he and Vermilion Bird Lady Satuna.
Yeah.
Like
it, should
that-
be, it should be Vermilion Bird, let's see Lord Zhuyu if we're going to do it.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I like that they're both like the longer the game is going on, the more impactful they become.
Yeah, see, that's the other thing, right? I'm only running 14 backups, but like you said, the longer
none of
games,
them break. None of them break.
none of them break themselves, and essentially, when I get to 5 backups and I draw Citrina, that's another GG.
Yep.
There's a couple of different alpha strikes in this deck.
You're happy to just build your board, really,
Yeah.
if things slow down.
And we also figured out that Vermilion Bird, let's see Zhuyu is finding its Setsu as well, didn't we?
Oh, exactly. Yes.
Why, because he'll activate himself.
Because you'll
Yeah.
Golem Freeze first and then you'll activate.
Oh, that's cool.
because your ability will go and stack first,
Yeah.
and his ability, and then
Yeah.
And then, but he'll still be frozen.
You'll still be frozen, yeah.
So, like, if he ends the turn dull,
Yeah.
then he's not gonna. Or if your
Yeah.
opponent dulls him and you're in their turn.
true. Yeah. But yeah, I actually really like this list. I probably don't think like it's a top tier deck.
I think it's probably like
I think this is
the best spoiler deck right now. Because it wrecks so many decks.
It does, yeah.
I think this is definitely like a good blueprint to start with in any way. In any case, for if anyone's wanting to focus on Monofire at the moment, it looks pretty solid.
My new list has bombs, the 1-drop bomb.
Why?
And that has been so.
You just said
so
he might as well
helpful.
play the 1-drop Ifrit, right?
No,
Oh, if that's what he's just
so
playing
so
Eddie
so,
for.
so, so I took out the Belias. I put up 2 1-drop bombs, and like seriously with Ranger and with like VV or with like literally anything, it feels so good to just kind of pop it off and do something. It's just it's
Like,
been
that's
very good.
related point. Like against your deck, I feel like my ice deck is probably favored against your Palamporum. Like
Have we played Ice
We have.
Sphere? I can't remember
I
the
won't
game.
remember.
I can't remember the game. I have no
I
memory.
can't remember
I have
losses.
no memory of
I have
this.
such an emphasis on summon cancellation.
Yeah, that's
true.
right.
And also, I can just not play forwards and play flans,
Mm.
and then wreck your hand, and then I do my.
I think didn't we? We played a few games, and I definitely
You
won some
have
of
you
them.
have
Yeah.
you've definitely won against me. I feel overall.
I think it's
it-
an unfavorite matchup. That's what you're saying.
I feel like your deck is better overall, like
Yeah.
in the environment. But in our particular matchup, I found my deck.
Because like
is
my fallback
Um,
against your deck is
the-
like
the-
just go
one
for
of
the
the things I found
9 package.
really annoying about versing your deck is that your guys are throwaway
Mm.
guys. Your caliber of removal deals with that really easily because
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
removal is suited.
Like,
to
Yeah,
throw
yeah.
I don't want to see
throwaway
this
guys.
deck if
Yeah.
I'm playing Polyforum.
Yeah,
There's
Because
so many
everything
easy
just
ways.
eliminates my plays.
Yeah.
So
And
So
with like the
efficient.
bare minimum
Yeah.
required.
And so a couple of points if people do want to pilot this deck is that you need to decide on your opponent's strategy very early on whether you're going to go aggro or not, because that's going to really affect your playstyle, and you need to be very good at discarding the right cards, right? Because that is like key. Like honestly, I've discarded so many Sabines when I didn't want to, but I had to, and you win the game eventually.
Yep,
but
that's-
even though Sabines are such a good card, and also if at all possible, keep an Ifrit in your hand. Always keep an Ifrit in your hand. Do you know why? Because when you
Yes.
eventually EX burst the Opus 5 Ifrits, you can discard a card and deal 10k to something.
pretty cool.
And you
Oh,
can.
if you play Shivas instead, you don't discard a card.
You still deal 10k.
but you know what I mean.
right.
Right?
Shiva.
But
Why
like,
couldn't he just say that? Like they have the same text. Oh well.
Because then it'd be the same card.
But
Yeah.
you know, better.
no, I actually,
Yeah.
I actually really like this Ifrit, and I think that the lowest number of Ifrits that you can go if you want to support this Ifrit is 8. I would not go lower than 8.
It's
Yeah,
funny
I like-
because I've got mad Shiva love in terms of the summon slot for my ice deck. The Glacier and Mateus, I think are great summons, but in my style of deck, I can't. I can't.
like-
put them in.
Yeah.
I need the Shivas.
So in Opus 5, right? You know how we're talking about how it's moving away from combat.
Yeah.
Mateus is not good anymore. Like it's
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
when I
it's just not good.
tried
I think-
Mateus in my deck, it just
doesn't do
didn't do
anything.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather be a Glacier Labolos.
I'm really not afraid of that.
Exactly.
Mateus.
Exactly. Yeah. Me
I
too.
thought it was going to be like oppressive.
Yeah,
but
but
it's
Everyone was like, "Oh
yeah,
no!"
yeah. It's been underwhelming.
Yeah, because in the Opus 4 environment, I think it would have been.
Yeah, no,
if
it would've been
Mateus was
great.
the only card that came out in Opus 5, I think it
Yeah.
would be really good.
Okay. Yeah. Anyways, I think we've talked enough about this deck, but I think you guys should try it out if you like fire, and yeah, it's I got.
I really enjoy our games as well. The ice and fire, because it's so thematic, fire versus ice,
Yeah.
and also because it's that classic showdown of can you kill me before
Yeah.
I get mad. That sometimes you do, sometimes you don't,
Yeah.
and it's interesting.
I actually came third in the Untapped tournament.
Oh, good job.
Oh, did you beat the? Oh, you played the third, fourth match, right?
Yes. Yeah. I won that one. Who was that against? Oh no, that was against the Fire Ice, was it? Yeah. I think that was the Fire Ice
Oh yeah.
showdown. It's so long.
I'm sure there are VODs somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I've
Yeah.
actually recorded it. I was gonna release it, so
Oh, okay.
but we'll see. Anyways, thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah.
This is our first podcast back from Opus 5.
Good
and-
to be back.
Getting
Yeah,
back
good
into
to be
the
back.
swing of things.
And I'll be back to posting 2 times a week. I got time for that now. And yeah, obviously we always have Meme Mondays. I never stop doing that. We always have Clickbait Wednesdays.
Clickbait Wednesdays. Why?
Hey man, a lot of people are liking it, right?
People seem to really, really like it.
They
I
do.
can't understand it.
So the last one was seven things
Yeah,
Lady
that
Gaga
has
has
in
a
common
cover
with
with
the
Emperor.
Emperor.
Yeah. And I
I
chose
love
I chose
that.
a pretty good picture that shows
That was-
yeah.
pretty
I mean, his outfit, I could imagine seeing
Lady
Lady
Gaga.
Gaga. and-
I have the same feeling towards it as actual clickbait.
Exactly, right?
Comes out of
That's
my
the
face.
whole point.
I'm just like, why? That's so cheap. Like,
You've opted into this clickbait as well. That's the thing.
no.
Now you see what that made me think about is I imagined immediately the Emperor in a dress made of meat.
Yeah. That
Oh,
could
no.
be a skin of the
No,
city
it's a
MC.
dress made of memes. He's the moon lord.
But anyways, yeah. So we have Meme Monday always. We have Clickbait Wednesdays.
That's on the Facebook page.
Yeah, and then follow us
Like
on
the Facebook page.
like the Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. I'm gonna be much more active on that. I was
Oh.
hoping.
Something I keep doing on Facebook is liking the stuff that you put up, but as MogPod game. I meant to do it as myself. So if you guys ever see something that's
That's
got
just
like,
Chris going.
yeah, if he's put up a meme that's really funny and then MogPod Gaming likes it, it's probably me not realizing that I've been doing it under
Yeah.
MogPod.
No, it's because I've got these guys as
Yeah,
moderators.
we're all there.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
But anyways,
I think I've done that at least once.
Yeah, and then
And then I've, like, undone it and,
then
like,
liked it.
oh.
And if it's somebody else's comment, like, oh no, like,
Somebody
we
has
liked
seen
it,
what
then
I've done.
Then we
Yeah.
retracted that we liked it, we don't like them anymore, and shove them in the corner.
Yeah.
Oh.
anyways, so yeah, we're going back to swing of things, and also we're gonna do the top 5 cards of Opus 5 very soon as well. So look out for that. Yeah. The other thing is that in that top 5 video, you guys will know first. I actually got a $30 voucher for.
Ooh, contest announcement.
Yeah. It's
As a contest, it's not split between us.
Oh, I mean,
so we're gonna. I got a $30 voucher from the Card Cavern, which was sponsoring the Untapped tournament since I got third.
Oh.
So I'm going to
throw that out to the community.
Yeah, on the top 5 video.
To one of you lucky Moogles out there,
Oh no.
it's gonna happen.
Wait,
It's gonna catch on.
It's not Mogler, Jared.
No,
I like
no,
Mogler.
it's not.
I like Mugler.
Mogler is beautiful.
I'm a proud Mugler. It
I'm-
sounds like someone who peddles Moogles.
That's not a good thing.
It's better than Moogle.
Moogle
Because
trafficking.
Moogle's already a thing. You can't call people Moogles.
Yeah.
You were on the opposite side of this argument an hour and a half ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you change your mind.
We've
Yeah,
convinced
It's a
them
good
now.
skill to be able to change your mind.
Yeah, so it's almost $30. It's actually £20.
Oh,
It's
okay.
£20 because it's a
£20, governor.
Yeah. But yeah. Anyways, we're gonna do that for you guys, and yeah. So like, subscribe, comment,
Yeah.
share our video, and yeah.
See you next
Oh,
time.
send us some more.
MogPod MCDs.
Yes, MogPod
yeah.
Community Design.
MogPod Community Designs. We would love those. When we get through a lot of them, and if we need to do more,
We'll do it like a huge
mods,
dump.
Yeah, we'll do a
Yeah.
dump. If we get a lot, then
We'll feature one at least each podcast.
I think we should.
But like the ones we were like, we might post to the Facebook page,
yes,
Twitter,
we will. Yeah,
somewhere.
we will. Yeah.
Maybe not to Twitter. I don't know that there's enough
No,
to like
there's-
put a disclaimer that this isn't an actual thing.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Not in 140 characters.
Yeah. But anyways, thanks for watching. Does anyone want to say bye?
see,
Nah.
See ya.
No.
No, okay.
So Chris will stay here, and we'll just
Yeah, we'll go.
yeah,
and-
bye-bye.
This isn't goodbye.
Alright.
Not saying bye.
That's the cut. That's the cut.